Hello guys. This is Noko and this is the story about what if Naruto was in 7 Deadly Sins. The author of this story is R0 Tatsid, do check him out guys. Link will be in description. Let's begin. The seal. Inside a strange sewer-like place stood a cage. Within that cage were 2 separate seals, one to open the cage and one to grant freedom of its inhabitants. Inside sat a giant red fox with 9 tails, the creature responsible for so many deaths of a village. Now as the malevolent creature sat there and waited until he heard an unearthly disturbance. As he looked outside his cage, he was greeted with the sight of a blond boy with whiskers marks. This was Naruto Uzumaki. So, my container decided to visit me, to what do I owe the pleasure? The fox asked sarcastically. I am going to remove the first seal. He said plainly without looking up and slowly moving towards the cage. Finally gave in. Yes, release me and grant me the chance to rip those villagers apart. The fox commanded only to be ignored with silence. I'm not freeing you. I'm freeing your real self. He said slowly ripping away the seal as a light appeared. And the only way to do that is to defeat you. He said determined. A ninja, like you cannot defeat me. I am the 9-tailed fox, the strongest Biju and demon lord. The fox boasted. Naruto's face turned into a scowl as a dark tattoo made of darkness appeared over his like a scar. Trust me, you are no demon and you weren't a Biju before. He said. What is this stupidity you are spewing? The fox asked. Kurama the 9-tailed fox died centuries ago and he forced you to take his power in hopes of being reborn. Sadly, what he didn't know that only his behavior was reborn, but you are still trapped in that form. Naruto explained as more shapes formed around his face from the darkness. I've had enough of your annoying voice. The fox shouted, swinging his tails at Naruto, only for the boy to jump and hit him in the face directly. You insolent little, the fox was interrupted as several Naruto began to strike him with green blades, weapons with jagged edges. 7 Deadly Sin asked Big Tsumi. This is a sacred treasure, you would recognize this if you were yourself and not stuck thinking you're Kurama. Naruto said coldly as the copies began to slash around the tailed beast's body, making it howl in pain. The fox growled in anger and started smashing his tails against the clones in hopes of killing the real Naruto. All 4 popped, but he lost sight of his real container. Without realizing it, he noticed a yellow blur as it sent his face crashing into the sewer water. The fox was annoyed and was ready to annihilate his utter annoyance. I'm done playing your games, you stupid ninja. The fox shouted as he charged up his chakra and started forming a giant sphere of energy, the Bijuudama, the inspiration for Minato Namikaze's Rasengan. The Bijuudama finished and was fired at Naruto, who just stood there flaring his curse mark as he prepared for the blast as he held out a short broadsword. Full counter. He shouted as he held the short sword in a defensive position and was being pushed back by the power of the Bijuudama. The fox smirked, thinking Naruto was prolonging the inevitable, only to see that the bomb has stopped in its tracks and slowly grew. The tailed beast's power soon grew and unexpectedly moved backwards very slowly. After a minute, the Bijuudama moved faster and faster and eventually moved faster than when it was shot. The fox was bewildered at his power being deflected by a lowly human, but was too slow to move out of the way as it came directly back at him. Boom. The fox soon fell on his side, feeling a great amount of shock as his greatest ability was merely deflected, strengthened and turned back on him. He looked up wincing as the pain from the stronger Bijuudama was too powerful for him to recover from. Naruto approached him. Are you done yet? He asked, receiving a loud growl. I guess not, but I don't have any more time to waste on a stupid animal with a god complex. He said coldly as he closed his eyes as his cursed marks disappeared. A minute later he reopened his left eye, showing his normal blue eye, but then he slowly opened his right eye, revealing it to be orange. The orange eye had a strange symbol on it. He quickly moved away as the fox brushed away the pain as he attempted to swipe at Naruto again, but didn't expect him to float away. Naruto soon landed but jumped in the air as he removed his shirt and jacket, revealing his bare chest. As he was in the air, his eye briefly glowed as wings revealed themselves from his back. They were 2 pure white-colored wings with 2 smaller ones right below them, as all 4 kept him floating. Don't think the fact you were able to turn a Bijuudama on me suddenly makes you invulnerable. I am the 9-tailed fox. The greatest and strongest Biju of all the 9-tailed beasts. The fox shouted as continued swiping and clawing the flying blonde who dodged at every attack. Arc. He shouted as a seal-shaped beam of energy hit the fox, directly knocking him on his back. You fought the demon, now it's time to fight the angel. Naruto shouted, firing another arc at the fox before he got the chance to get back up. I don't care what you are. He shouted, firing one more Bijuudama after several more claw strikes. Sadly, the explosive jutsu missed as the flying boy completely dodged it with insane speed as he struck the fox several more times with his short sword. Time to end this. Naruto said, crossing his arms. Let there be light. he shouted, firing a drill of light energy as it hit the fox directly. "What did you do to me? Why do I feel so weak?" the fox shouted as he begun to lose all of his energy. "I purified you. It's time for you leave this existence and free the innocent soul you enslaved. Beggin'," he shouted as the fox howled in pain as his existence was slowly being ripped apart. Soon light consumed the sower as Naruto closed his eyes. "Mito and Kushina failed, but I didn't. I helped you find peace," he said to himself, letting the light consume him. End of song. The boar hat. Naruto opened his eyes and found himself lying on a ground covered in grass. He stood up and turned to see an old bar. The boar hat, that was its name. Naruto opened the door to find the place well furnished, as if it's been kept clean and was never abandoned. He took a seat at the front counter on one of the stools. As he waited, he heard several footsteps coming from the stairway at the side of the bar. Someone came out. It was an older man with a scar around his neck. He was very muscular like an Olympian and wore a revealing red leather jacket with a matching pair of red leather pants. He also had red eyes like he did in his fox form, along with pale blue hair. Other than his strange tattoo and red eyes, this man had no physical resemblance to a fox like he would have expected. So, after nearly a century with red-headed bimbos, it takes an idiot who turned out to be my best buddy's descendant? He asked Naruto, who nodded, keeping his orange eye active. The man went behind the counter and looked down as he sighed. "So after so many years, he and the love of his life are gone, huh?" he asked without turning around. "I'm sorry for your loss, but don't lose hope," Naruto comforted. "Why? Everyone I know is gone. It started with Elaine, but now, the captain, Elizabeth, the holy knights and even rest of the gang is gone, and I've been cursed again. First, I'm immortal, now I'm stuck being a tailed beast for the next millennium. So why shouldn't I lose hope?" he asked, turning back around, surprised to see Naruto maintaining a straight face while holding out a scroll. "From my ancestor Meliodas, he and my other ancestor Elizabeth came to me one day in a dream and left this message. I'm not sure how, but this was formed when I woke up," Naruto explained before Ban took the scroll. "Hey Ban. Hopefully our great-great-grandson or however many greats he is gave you this message. Well, you were turned into a giant beast. Elizabeth and I were forced to freeze everyone we could get our hands on after we defeated Zeldris and fought in another holy war. I won't dwell much into that, but sadly, my curse was lifted along with Elizabeth's immortality and power to reborn. We thought we would only freeze the gang for a couple of centuries, but apparently that's not the case. Elizabeth and I may have ended the conflict between us, the Goddess Clan and Demon Clan, but apparently that wasn't enough. We managed to lock the Demon Clan away, but we aren't completely sure for how long. However, we have tamed the Goddess Clan, so Fishcake can take over as soon as those angels recognize and decide if he's worthy, most likely some pure of heart BS test. Anyways, here's the list of everyone we managed to save. I'm not sure what happened in the last few thousand years, but don't worry, Fishcake here said he can get a map and maybe an expert with a map on the bottom to find everyone. Good luck, pal. Oh, and by the way, we're leaving our abilities with Fishcake along with my sword and Elizabeth's ability to summon the goddess and angels. They call it a summoning contract now for some reason. Slater, Lil Gil, Hoser, Gila, Zeal, Jericho, Dreyfus, Griamore, Hendrickson, Margaret and Veronica. Yeah, I know, long one, but I decided to keep the Holy Knights and Elizabeth's sisters together, even though King Barter died. I remember how they reacted when he died. I can only imagine what Fishcake will say when he meets them. He'll be like, "Hi, I'm Meliodas and Elizabeth's descendant." Why do I say that? Because your friend and sister are both dead. Yeah, not so subtle, is it? Anyways, they're in the old kingdom, which is abandoned and sealed by a barrier made by Elizabeth. Gowther, Hawk and Hawk's mama are together in some weird forest place. Funny thing that most of these guys that live nearby have these weird powers, mainly with fire. It seems dangerous, but honestly they seem weaker than Lil Gil when he was a kid learning his elemental powers. Merlin and Escanor are together at Merlin's request. Escanor blushed for some reason, but they're both in a sealed cave in a desert. Diane, King, Matrona and Matrona's family along with Elaine's body are in the old fairies forest. Funny story, with the land suddenly changing, I only found it again after swimming aimlessly for nearly an hour near some giant tree near some waterfall. So that's it. I hope Fishcake here helps fill in the gap I made. I'm sorry, Ban, I know we've all been through a lot, but I guess the destinies we create for ourselves can still influence where we find ourselves. Goodbye, Ban, tell everyone we miss them as much as they'll miss us. Meliodas, captain of the 7 deadly sins. Elizabeth, 3rd princess of lions. P.S. Tell Fishcake that I give him permission to take up my name, since he's my legacy along with Elizabeth's. I don't think Fishcake Tides or whatever his name means will earn him too much respect. DPS Ban, this is Elizabeth. Please don't call Naruto by his name's meaning. I also wanted to let you know that if my sisters are okay with, I'm letting Naruto use my surname since I learned about his family abandoning him. I believe it is wrong to abandon your child for the sake of two others, since he is our descendant that makes him the nephew of Veronica and Margaret. Ban wiped a tear and looked back at Naruto, who powered down his eye. Well, when do we start? He asked, getting a raised eyebrow. Well, I'm done crying about being hopeless, and now that I think about it, if Meliodas is your distant grandfather, what does that make me and the gang? He asked. Well, you know the truth about my parents, and I technically have godparents, and I don't entirely trust Sarutobi anymore. He kept the truth away from me, and I can't be sure what his true intentions anymore. Naruto answered. Ban placed a hand on his shoulder and smiled. Well, kid, you know King and Diane secretly had feelings for each other, and they don't have normal human lifespans. Where are you going with this? Naruto asked, seeing Ban planning something. I'm just thinking of candidates for your godparents. Ban said as he started cooking something. Now that I think about, Margaret and Veronica may have adopted Elizabeth, but I think once they come around, they'll make decent aunts. He continued. You know, Kushina was able to train a bit in here and felt pain, but I think the same goes for eating, and if so, I think it's time you ate something besides ramen. Naruto smiled at the thought. Thank you, Uncle Ban. Naruto said as Ban stopped and looked at him for a second, then smiled. No, Naruto, thank you for freeing me, for giving me hope to family. The family, Naruto said back. From that day, the two talked all day and planned out finding their friends. Surprisingly, as they studied the maps, they found out Gowther and Hawk were the first ones they could find. 1 year later. Naruto was tossing and turning in his bed. The images were haunting him. He was remembering his younger days before he was a ninja and was a civilian child. The hate, the glares, the abuse, the wrath that manifesting within him. Deep down, his wrath was filling up again. Ever since Meliodas and Elizabeth helped awaken him to his powers, his inner hatred was stirring up and making his wrath stronger. He can't contain it as he was used to. The false innocence and happy attitude was just a cover that held down that power. Without realizing it, the blonde descendant of the demon and angel flared his curse mark as he continued to violently toss around his bed. Demon. Murderer. Filth. The curse mark became brighter as he started to drown in cold sweat. Die, demon. You killed my family. Bet the fox. Finish what the Yondaime started. Naruto's eyes opened as he flared his goddess eye and slashed at his roof, creating a large gaping hole. He just looked around and noticed the sun still hasn't risen. The 14-year-old just stood up from bed and went to the bathroom to wash his face. As he did, he looked in the mirror and saw someone behind him. Do you think anyone noticed? Naruto asked. You're lucky you have no neighbors or a landlord, the person said. That's good, I guess. Maybe I should check on Selene. You think she and the other members of the goddess clan figure out to break the seal? We found the pig and the doll. The moment we get them out, we start looking for everyone. Naruto said, receiving a chuckle. You know, despite the fact you may be his distant grandson and a hell of a lot more serious, but you are just as eager for adventure as him, said the person entering the bathroom, revealing to be Ban. Yeah, the Chunin exams are in a month, but I'm sure with the right incentive, I'm sure Sarutobi would let me visit Uzushio or Suna. Naruto said, exiting the bathroom. So basically, get the Holy Knights with Elizabeth's sisters or Merlin and Escanor. Regardless, with Gowther around we'll be able to explain everything rather quickly since he can spread your memories, and since I'm a Bijuu now and I'm still linked to you, we don't have to worry about him experimenting on our minds like he did to Diane. Ban explained, looking at his nephew figure. Yeah, maybe meeting my potential aunts and uncles sounds more fun. Maybe we should visit them first. You said Hawk's mama is fast, right? Naruto asked, rubbing his temples. Faster than you on foot, so I'd say we'll get Uzushio within a day at a decent speed. Besides, she's been through a lot, and I'm sure Hawk will be excited to become Konoha's captain of scraps disposal. Ban answered with a snicker. Yeah, maybe I should call Selene. I hope she's at least made some progress. Granny Elizabeth's techniques make regular sealing look like chicken scratch. Naruto said, preparing, making his eye glow brighter. Summoning jutsu. Selene. He shouted. Smoke filled the room, and short girl with brown hair tied in a braid and purple eyes appeared wearing a Roman-style dress, appeared looking around in confusion until she saw Ban and Naruto. Master and Naruto, did you require my assistance? She asked in a sudden panic. Yes, I just wanted a quick update on my grandmother's seal. He answered, getting a nod. Yes, Lady Elizabeth's seal was difficult and rather tedious, but after so much research and with the help of your notes, I believe we have a way to crack it and free Master Ban's associates. She explained as she summoned a scroll. We've been going over several times before we considered contacting you just to avoid wasting your time. She finished politely. Good, Selene, I will contact you in the morning again. I want you to prepare for the unsealing, so if you feel unsure, this is your last chance to review the unsealing method. Naruto said, with the angel training nodding as she disappeared in a bright light. Better get some rest, Ban, our journey might start tomorrow. He told his tenant, who nodded and went back into his seal. The next morning, Naruto found himself in his true form, wearing a tailored version of Meliodas' bartender suit, since it was the only thing he could get his hands on that wasn't an orange monstrosity shops would sell him. At least it was semi-formal and for some reason very durable, since his ancestors somehow avoided his own outfit from being torn about from all the fights he's found himself in. After an hour of traveling, the pair found themselves in the illusion Elizabeth made. Naruto broke it and found what they were looking for. The crystal-like material surround Gowther and Hawk, along with remnants of the boar hat, meaning Hawk's mama was right underneath. Summoning jutsu. Selin. He shouted, revealing the brunette and holding her scroll. "Ah, Master Naruto and Master Ban. Are you two ready?" she asked, with the two nodding. "Very well, let us get started," she said, unwrapping the scroll and activated several runes and seals. Selin soon jumped over the crystal-like material, trapping the trio, making them glow and slowly shatter. The angel soon found herself chanting something as the goddess seals appeared around the confinement crystals. "Holy crap, I think she might be able to break them out," Ban said, voicing out his excitement. "As annoying as the two are, it better than nothing." He finished with Naruto nodding, remembering all the stories Ban told about everyone ever since he regained his sanity. A few minutes later, Selin finished her chanting, and the seals disappeared as the crystals started to fall apart as bright lights appeared around cracks, creating a loud boom as they fell apart. "It looks like your job here is done, Selin. I thank you and the goddess clan for your assistance," Naruto said. "It was our pleasure, Master Naruto," she said before disappearing in a bright light. A couple of minutes later, two shadows appeared from the smoke caused by the destroyed crystals. As the smoke cleared, it revealed a young man with pink hair wearing glasses and a large pig. "Hey Hawk, Gowther over here," shouted Ban, grabbing their attention as they ran towards him. "Hey Ban. I thought you lost your mind, didn't you become a dog or something?" Hawk asked. "I believe he was a fox, Hawk. Now that I think about it, we didn't have time to assist you as the captain required for us to be frozen. Has it been 2 centuries? He asked until he noticed Naruto. "Excuse me sir, but who are you?" he asked as Hawk looked up as well. "I can tell you it's been more than 2 centuries," Naruto answered. "What? Meliodas, is that you got older?" Hawk shouted out, then he looked around the forest for a moment. "Hey, where's Elizabeth?" he asked. "It's been a few millennia, but I'm not Meliodas," Naruto responded as he wiped his hair away and revealed his goddess eye, shocking Gowther and Hawk. "What? Don't tell me," Hawk shouted. "Hawk, I believe he may be related to the captain and Elizabeth themselves," Gowther stated, observing Naruto. "Oh my god. Those two had a baby," he shouted again. "Yes, but I'm not that baby," Naruto responded. "What?" Gowther and Hawk asked. "Gowther, don't you have the ability to share memories between us?" Ban asked, receiving a nod. "Well, you and Hawk are going to have to go through his memories, so we don't have to go through the whole story." Gowther raised his hands and began to link their minds together as Gowther and Hawk experienced Naruto's story. The two went through his childhood abuse to the time he learned the truth about his parents, followed by the fight with Ban in his tailed beast form, which led to the memory of Meliodas and Elizabeth visiting him in a dream, explained what happened to them, finally ending the journey with a year of training under Ban. "Oh my, that is unfortunate," Gowther said, lacking any emotion. Hawk, however, was starting to cry. "So, Elizabeth and Meliodas are gone?" he asked, receiving a nod only for the pig to cry out loud. As he cried, everyone was surprised to see that Hawk was being comforted by Naruto as the blonde hugged the pig. "I'm sorry Hawk, I grew up alone and hated for something I wasn't even aware of until over a year ago. Then I learned my real family practically left me for dead, whereas you lost someone you knew for a long time," Naruto said, comforting the pig, who started to calm down. Gowther decided to speak up as he always kept a calm demeanor. "Wait, Naruto, was it?" he asked, receiving a nod. "In your memory, you gave Ban a scroll from Meliodas, correct?" he asked as Naruto nodded again, pulling out the scroll. "That's right, we needed to get to you guys first since you were the closest, and Hawk's mama can help us get to everyone faster than going on foot," Ban explained as Gowther read the message. "He is right, Hawk, even though the captain is no longer with us, we still have the rest of the group, along with the remnants of lions," Gowther added as he passed back the scroll. "Really, like Diane and King?" Hawk asked, wiping his tears with Hove. "Yes, Hawk, but first we'll be looking for Merlin, Escalates and the remnants of lions, since I'm still having trouble pinpointing Diane and King's location," he said, making the pig still keep his hopes high. "Well then, what are we waiting for? Mommy?" Hawk shouted, making the ground around them shake as the damaged boar hat soon began to shake as well. After a couple of minutes, a large green pig with straps connected to the tavern itself rised from the ground. "Where to, new captain?" he asked. "Hawk, just because I'm his descendant doesn't mean I want to completely replace him," he said, making the pig look down. Besides that, I need to get us permission to leave the village. You did pay attention to the knowledge of the hidden village through my memories, right? He asked with the pig looking at him confused. Hawk, Naruto cannot leave as that would mark him as a deserter, so he must gain clearance before we begin our journey. Gowther explained with Hawk nodding. Yeah, Naruto, you better get the old man's permission. Ban said, but then it hit him, he couldn't go alone since he's a rookie genin and the village is Jinchuriki. Wait, hold that thought. He shouted as he pulled a piece of paper and quickly wrote on it and handed it to Gowther. You want me to ask for a mission with Naruto as a bodyguard? Gowther asked. Yeah, since he's only a rookie, Naruto can't go on his own since he's a rookie, unless it's a simple mission like a short escort. Ban answered, then Hawk and I can wait in the outskirts of the village and we can take off since a giant pig will draw too much attention. Ban finished. I understand now, I should make my way there now, care to escort me, Naruto? He asked. Yeah, but I better activate my disguise since no one is aware of my appearance. Naruto said, transforming into the orange-wearing idiot. A disguise? I bet they think you're an idiot wearing so much orange. Gowther said, receiving a nod. Later. Gowther made his way to the tower keeping a disguise by changing his hair and eye color as Naruto decided to wait at Ichiraku's. The goat Sin soon found himself exploring the halls of the tower as he made it to the secretary's office. Good morning, how may I help? Asked the secretary with a bright smile. Hypocrite, Gowther thought as Naruto's memories showed this woman would often try to kick Naruto out before he could talk the village leader. Yes, is this the Hokage's office? I am here to request a mission. Gowther said politely. Yes, please wait a moment. She said as she spoke into the intercom, Hokage-sama may see you now. She said with Gowther nodding as he walked through the doors. Hello young man, how may I help you today? Sarutobi asked eyeing the now green-haired boy. Hello Hokage-sama, I am Alan, and I am here to request one of your shinobi to escort myself to a village near Wave Country. Gowther answered, maintaining his disguise. Preferably the hero of Wave Country. He said. Sarutobi remembered the report he got from Tazuna as Naruto actually inspired the inhabitants of the poor trading post and named their bridge after him. Perhaps this could be some good experience for the Kyuubi container. Are you sure you wouldn't need a whole team? He asked. No, unlike Tazuna-sen, I guarantee you that the only hazards will be the way there as it is rather far to go on foot. So I believe an experienced shinobi will be necessary should I get lost or run into wild animals since I cannot defend myself. Gowther explained. How long will this mission last? I do expect my shinobi to return at some point. Asked Sarutobi, hoping for his surrogate grandson avoids trouble or arguing with the client. Gowther places a hand on his chin. If it were by horse I would say 2 full days, but since I am on foot, it will take 2 almost 3 days to reach my village, plus the extra 2 or 3 days too for your shinobi to return on his own. Gowther answered, if you are worried I can send a carrier pigeon at every mail post site we come across marking our progress, and your shinobi can do the same. He continued, hoping to ensure Sarutobi that Naruto should go alone to avoid suspicion. Alright, I expect a letter from my shinobi every chance or every day marking your progress on making to and back to the village. Sarutobi explained, receiving a nod. Well then, Anbu. One of them appeared from his corner, bring me Naruto Uzumaki. Hi. A few minutes later. Naruto arrived with a bored demeanor. Hey Gramps, you called? He asked. Hey, who's this guy? He pointed to Gowther. Naruto, this is Alan, you will be escorting him to his village near Wave Country. Sarutobi answered. So why isn't Kakashi-sensei and everyone else here? He asked. No Naruto, Alan here has assured me that this mission will be a solo one for you, since he claims the only problem is the distance and the potential wild animals he will run into. The Kage explained. Sweet. I get my very own mission, Naruto asked with stars in his eyes. This is how he forces himself to act. Gowther thought to himself. Yes, Naruto, just you, but I need you to write to me every chance you get when on your extended trip. Sarutobi answered. Wait, why? The blonde asked, looking curious. Because it's a solo mission that will possibly take a week since you are going on foot, plus the time it take to come back since Alan here states his village is close to Wave, but tricky to get to. Sarutobi said, filling out the paperwork for the mission. Okay. He said as he turned to Gowther. Hi Alan, and I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm the future Hokage. I'll see you at the gates in a half hour. He shouted as he ran out the doors. Thank you Hokage-sama, I will send the payment once I reach my village. Good day to you. Gowther said, bowing and leaving as he went toward the village gates. I doubt even Merlin would keep her calm demeanor if this was how he really acted. This personality is worse than the captain's. He thought to himself. An hour later. Naruto and Gowther were already out of range from the village. This is far enough. Naruto said, quickly stopping and removing his disguise and revealing his older appearance with the bartender uniform he was wearing earlier. He immediately started groaning in pain as he covered his eyes. "That's the last time I'm ever using that eye star technique," he said. "How bad is it?" Gowther asked with Naruto staring at him in anger. "Let me show you," he said, feeling annoyed. "Later. Is this pain? Why am I curious about everything?" Gowther shouted as he was laying on his back covering his eyes in pain from the technique. "Told you, where the hell is Hawk's mama anyways?" Naruto asked as he prepared his healing technique with his goddess technique. Several minutes later, after healing the dull man, the two looked up to see the giant green pig walking towards them, sporting that giant smile she always has. "We're here," Hawk shouted from above as he pushed down the rope ladder. "Come on, we have friends to save and adventure to look forward to." He continued running back inside as the pair below climbed up the rope. "Naruto, where are we off to?" asked Gowther. "Near Yuzushio, or the land of whirlpools. It's where my birth mother was born along with Mito Uzumaki, who were both sealing master that carried Ban within them before I released him from his insanity," Naruto explained as they made it to the top. "Intriguing. Will we be passing by?" Gowther asked. "Very likely, but there's nothing there considering the place was destroyed during the last Shinobi World War when Konoha failed to arrive on time when they were attacked," Naruto answered. For an entire day, the group found themselves talking about what they would do as Naruto planned out how he would get them into Konoha without drawing too much attention, without revealing themselves, or at very least mark them as a new clan in Konoha. They would have to cross that bridge when they get there, especially when they have to come up with another excuse once they figure out where Diane and King are, along with Diane's friend Matrona. Later that night, Hawk's mama found a place to rest as she dug herself underground for the night. Ban decided to Naruto around the tavern to show him where the rooms were, as Gowther already claimed a bed, leaving the other two to choose their rooms for the night. As for Hawk, the pig decided to just lay beside Naruto, with the former already trying to build a friendship with Meliodas' descendant. The next day, the group had their breakfast and signaled to Hawk's mom to move again, reaching Yuzushio an hour later. The large pig managed to maneuver around the village's illusions since chakra didn't affect her, making it easier to avoid the whirlpools and strong tides from pulling her in. The hazardous journey soon ended once they reached the end of the ruins, since no one in the tavern had any interest in digging up old fossils or collecting any rubble or outdated sealing scrolls, since apparently Elizabeth and the goddess clan's sealing methods were more advanced. After a couple of hours of searching, the group stopped as they finally found the barrier to lions. Summoning jutsu. Cell and Naruto shouted as he summoned the brunette for a third consecutive time. "Ah, Master Naruto, do you require unsealing again?" she asked with a smile, as she and the rest were loyal to the boy and were never annoyed by the blonde, since his attitude was a facade and he would only use them when necessary. "Yes, Ellen, I want you to see if you can remove this barrier." He pointed to the illusion. "I believe it might be similar to what my grandmother made when freezing everyone," he explained, receiving a nod as the angel flew towards the barrier and did the same process as she did with the crystals that surround Gowther and Hawk. "Who's the flying lady?" Hawk asked. "She's Ellen." The goddess clan was tamed, but the demon clan wasn't, so after a quick set of trials, Selen became my main sum for personal use, and her clan was responsible for figuring out the seals. Elizabeth used to freeze you guys and make that barrier," Naruto explained. "Sure, wish I was around to see that," Hawk responded. "How long will this take?" asked Gowther. "It took 10 minutes for you guys, but this barrier looks stronger, so I would say relax for now," Naruto answered. Everyone just sat there as Ban grabbed some ingredients Naruto brought before leaving the village, as he began to cook lunch for everyone. A half hour later, the group felt the barrier release as it created a small earthquake that shook Hawk's mama along with the tavern. "I am finished, Master Naruto. Will that be all?" Selen asked, flying inside the tavern. "No, not yet, Selen. This was the barrier, and to convince you, you might want to sit back until we find the rest of our group," he explained, getting a nod as the angel took a seat on one of the stools. "Lions, what's left of it?" The giant pig, along with her inhabitants, saw the ruins of the once proud kingdom of lions, ruled by a strong and kind leader, King Bartra, now turned into a shadow of its former glory. Naruto immediately used his multi-shadow clone technique as he summoned hundreds of copies of himself. "I want all of you to search every nook and cranny of this entire kingdom until you find the crystals containing the holy knights," he told his clones. "What was that technique you did? I did not see you use the sacred treasure and do not believe it can make that many illusions," Gowther asked, rather analyzed. "Gowther, that was the shadow clone jutsu, and even without Ban's new power, I can make several hundred of them without exhaustion, and the best part is that once they dispel I retain their memories, making it easier to gain experience and memory," Naruto explained. "I see, so by making hundreds of yourself, you crack down on the time it would take to find everyone," Gowther stated. "Correct, now all we have to do is play the waiting game again and hope at least one of them finds them so we can move on to rebuilding the 7 deadly sins," Naruto said. "I'll drink to that," said Ban in the back. "I'm so excited, I can't wait to get everyone back." Hawk shouted only to look down, "But what do we tell them about Meliodas and Elizabeth, and better yet, how will Elizabeth's sister react? It's only been a few minutes for them and they're just going to hear that their sister is dead." Hawk elaborated. "Gowther will help as he can transfer my memory, and as for how they will take it, I'm really not sure, but we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there." Naruto responded, realizing how everyone might react to their entire civilization being gone and rebuilt as something foreign and strange. To top it off, he's the only memory left of his distant relatives with barely any plan of what to do when he unfreezes them. "I should have planned this better," he said to himself as everyone else contemplated on what their next move after the unfreezing is done. "Don't sweat it, Naruto, beside I'm sure the princesses will at least feel somewhat better knowing they have another living relative and won't break down in depression, saying that they'll feel better with lots of alcohol and gambling." Ban spoke up. "I don't like Tsunade as much as you, but I want first dibs, after that I heal her completely, so you have your turn, then heal her again, so we can double team," he said, receiving a chuckle. "You know, kid, if I was freed years earlier, I would have adopted you instead of laughing like a maniac at the fact that the stupid monkey screwed up," Ban said. "Yup, my parents were the Hokage and a clan heir from a clan that controlled an entire village, but my new parents are an immortal guy and fairy who looks like a little girl. Maybe after we find Elaine, we can use Tobirama's jutsu and my eye to restore her," Naruto said. "Well, if she's okay with it, then I guess King would have to be your godparent or something," Ban said with a chuckle but frowned immediately. "Then I would be related to King," he said, growling. The two were friends but always at each other's throats. "Can I start calling you dad instead of uncle?" Naruto asked as Ban just left after thinking about becoming King's brother-in-law. "I guess not, oh well, I have aunts," he laughed. Meanwhile at the Hokage's office. "You can come out now, Jiraiya," said Sarutobi as a man dressed as a kabuki character jumped through the window into the office. "Well, sensei, clearly I'm losing my touch," he said with a grin. "Yes, but that isn't why you are here, is it?" the old man asked, taking a deep inhale from his pipe. "About that, I'm going to be frank with you," he said to his former sensei, not taking his mouth off the pipe. "Kasumi and Narumi's Bijuu chakra is gone along with their seals, and now Minato is coming back to check on Naruto," Jiraiya finished. "Well, Jiraiya, is Minato coming back to stay and possibly take custody of Naruto again?" the Kage asked. "Very likely, besides Tsunade has been considering taking him on as an apprentice, knowing he might get excited to be trained by a Sannin, unless I get to him first." "Why do you ask?" Sarutobi took off his hat and placed his pipe to the side. "Jiraiya, I am going to be frank with you as well. Since Orichimaru left the village, a new development has happened along with Minato leaving," he said, surprising the Toad Sage. "What is it, sensei?" he asked, feeling concerned. "I went back to having 3 disappointments instead of 2, he said plainly. "I don't understand," Jiraiya said in confusion. "Jiraiya, I made many mistakes, and there's one I intend to fix before someday fixing another one. When Minato Namikaze returns, I will tell the truth of the Kyuubi attack, and along with it I will name a 5th Hokage," he said, shocking his student. "Sensei, what about Iwa?" he asked. Sarutobi glared at him. "What about the damn villagers?" he shouted, scaring Jiraiya. "They've been trying to end his life believing he was the damn fox itself. Were you there?" "No, you weren't, whereas I had hundreds of thousands of demands for the death of a boy who until a few years ago kept asking me one thing that would haunt me. Do you know what that is, Jiraiya?" he asked the Toad Sage, who started getting scared. He asked me, "Why don't I have parents? Am I loved? Why does everyone hate me? Do you have any idea how it feels to look down the eyes of a child and lie to them?" "No, of course you don't. While you and Tsunade were joining the Namikaze family eating lobster and enjoying walks on the beach, because your senile frogs drew something and put it on the fridge, you assume child abandonment should be supported. But sensei, the prophecy." "What prophecy? What does it say now?" Jiraiya remained quiet. "Jiraiya, unless you have something interesting to say, then you and Tsunade better be expecting some horrible consequences once I tell the village and Naruto the truth, and before you decide to move on from writing porn to comedy. No, I will not choose either of you to be the 5th Hokage," he shouted, flaring enough Kai make Orochimaru himself melt into a puddle. "Now if you don't have anything else to report, you are dismissed," he said, with the Toad Sage making a break for it. He then looked under his desk to see the photo of Naruto wearing the Kage hat on his 6th birthday with himself in the background. "Naruto, I've failed you and all I can do now is tell the truth. I've seen that look in your eyes, and I can tell you aren't the kind of boy you really are. Most boys your age wouldn't suffer as you have. I can only hope your journey becomes a fruitful one," Sarutobi said to himself, wiping a tear away as he saw Naruto as another grandson and could cry if Konohamaru went through the same treatment. "Last time. Can I start calling you dad instead of uncle?" Naruto asked as Ban just left after thinking about becoming King's brother-in-law. I guess not, oh well I have aunts. He laughed. Then the epic saga continues. The Boar Hat. Everyone but Selen is singing a strange song Naruto made up from reading a book after he found a guitar in the back. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River, life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze, Naruto started as he played his guitar. Country roads, take me home, to the place I belong, West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home, country roads, Hawk joined in. All my memories gather round her, miner's lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye, Gowther added in feeling the rhythm. Country roads take me home, to the place I belong, West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home, country roads, Ban joined in jumping out of the kitchen. I hear her voice, in the morning hour she calls me, the radio reminds me of my home far away, and driving down the road I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday, said everyone getting the hang of the song. Country roads take me home, to the place I belong, West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home, country roads, everyone sang several times before ending it with Selen clapping towards the song. What is West Virginia? Asked Gowther with Naruto looking at him intently. I have no idea. He answered getting a face fault from Selen, Hawk and Ban. How the hell do you not know you made up the song? Ban shouted. It was inspired from a book I read once. Naruto said getting a huff out of his uncle. I love you too dad. He said not getting a response. Hopefully those two get over mourning their sister and are willing to get to know their nephew. Wait, if Ban is your uncle and Elizabeth's sisters are your aunts, then who are your parents? Hawk asked getting a glare. Oh yeah, I forgot about the memories, so what about new godparents? Ban said King and Diane were the best choices since Merlin isn't very affectionate and Escalates is a wild card depending on the time of day. He said learning from what Ban said in his stories about the 7 deadly sins. And Gowther? Hawks asked. Yes, what about me? Asked Gowther feeling intrigued about the concept of family since he mostly saw working with the other sins as an unpaid job. I don't know, what do you want to be? Naruto asked with Ban hearing the conversation as he didn't like whatever was going through Gowther's head at the moment. I will be your attorney. He said getting a look of annoyance. No, I will be your elder brother. Catch. He said throwing a ball at Naruto's head knocking him over. Master Naruto. Selen shouted as she tended to his wound. You suck at this little brother. Gowther said getting a glare from Hawk and Selen. A moment later, Naruto shot up with a look of concern on his face. I found them, they're at the dungeon levels of the old castle. He shouted as he grabbed Hawk who briefly panicked while the remaining sins followed him. Selen also decided to pursue as well since her job wasn't finished. A good 15 minutes later, the group found themselves in the old castle that was still holding together. Hey, it's my old apartment. Naruto said out loud as they entered the dungeons. This is not the time to be roasting that crappy place, besides we better dig up some treasure, because there is no way everyone is fitting in your apartment or the Boar Hat. Ban explained thinking the place might get cramped since they'll be fitting around 11 people before they reach Merlin and Escalates. Good point. Naruto responded. For the next few minutes the group journeyed to find the knights and princesses all frozen together in a large cell. Naruto and Ban soon used up their super strength to rip off the cell doors before Selen could enter. Selen, you think you can do it on a larger scale? Naruto asked. Of course, Master Naruto, by helping you I'll gain my wings and soon you'll be closer to reaching your family. She said with glee as she began to summon all the proper seals surrounding each individual. So, what now? Asked Hawk. How about we make another song? Suggested Gowther. Guitar time. Shouted Naruto as he pulled out his instrument and papers. 45 minutes of rickrolling later. Now that song is going to be stuck in my head for a day. Said Ban with the rest nodding in agreement. Suddenly the seals grew brighter as the whole dungeon began to shake. Wee! Hawk shouted as he began to be tossed around by the tremors. After a couple of minutes, smoke filled the room, great breakthrough. Shouted Naruto forcing wind to push away the smoke. Will that be all, Master Naruto? Asked Selen who appeared out of the smoke. Yes, thank you again Selen. He answered with the angel leaving in her bright light. As the smoke cleared up, the four witnessed the remaining members of Lions. Hey guys. Over here. Hawk shouted grabbing everyone's attention, look who we found. He shouted pointing towards Naruto. Sir Meliodas. Shouted Gilthander who mistook Naruto's appearance and ran up him. Sir Meliodas, have you aged? He asked receiving a sigh. Ban noticed this and spoke up. He's not Meliodas, look at his right eye. He said as Naruto revealed his goddess eye shocking everyone. Then where's Meliodas and Elizabeth? Spoke up Margaret. Better yet, who's this guy and why does he have our sister's eye and Meliodas' looks? Veronica asked feeling wary of the stranger in front of her. I believe I may be able to help," said Gowther, walking closer to the group. "Will everyone come close? I believe this will take very long to explain," he said as everyone did as they were told, despite Gila showing some wariness as well from her past experience with the doll man, but held a tight grip around Zeal's hand. Gowther went through the process again and shared Naruto's memories again from his childhood abuse up to the start of the journey after he along with Hawk were freed. After he finished, Margaret fell on her knees crying as Gilthander held her. Veronica was fighting the tears while Griamore tried to place a hand on her shoulder only for her to push it away. Zeal was practically in tears as he was terrified from Naruto's abuse while Gila did her best to comfort him while Hoser was taking heavy breaths from Naruto's experience. Hendrickson along with Dreyfus only looked down as they knew that with all the time that's passed, the kingdom must have fallen. Jericho was the only one trying to keep an impassive look while keeping to herself. Slater just stood there feeling unsure about what to feel. He's the last of the roars of done, his kingdom is gone, and now he's stuck in a new world. So, are you telling me the kingdom's left in ruins, Meliodas and Elizabeth are both dead, and now we're stuck a millennium in the future where you're hated because Ban turned into a monster and they think you're Ban? Asked Hoser. Hey, if it helps, I'm an orphan, he said, getting sad of pity from the women. Oh, sorry, I was just thinking of myself for a second, Hoser said sarcastically as Naruto decided to put himself in the spotlight. At least your parents didn't fake their deaths to abandon you to raise your twin siblings. Especially since one of them is my village's leader at the time, Naruto said, making everyone glare at Hoser. Can we stop the arguing? Hendrickson asked, getting everyone attention. Now then, now that you've freed us, what do we do now? He asked. We free the remaining sins, said Naruto with a toothy grin. And then? Hendrickson asked. Everyone soon turned back to Naruto, who just stared as they stared back in silence. They stared. He stared. They stared longer. He stared as long. They just all stood there. He blinked. Everyone was losing their patience. Naruto drastically went through 100 hand seals a second, poorly planned plot escape jutsu. Hold on, there is no way you are, Hendrickson was interrupted by a sudden transition. Later on, the road back at the tavern. That was a lot to take in, said Jericho, who was sitting with Gila and Zeal. Yes, 1 minute we're frozen while the demon and goddesses are fighting and the next several thousand years pass by. Gila responded as she looked at her brother, who was shaking at the thought. So, what do you think we'll do after we find Merlin and Escalates? Jericho asked. Likely follow Naruto back to his village, it's a new world and we don't have much else since Lions has fallen, answered Gila. Meanwhile, Veronica and Margaret went upstairs as the men were all talking about their situation. To be honest, there wasn't much they could do considering Lions is fallen, and it's safe to say so has Camelot, since Naruto did not mention of Arthur or his kingdom. Outside the boar hat, Hawk was sleeping on top of his mom's snout as Naruto was just staring at the sunset as they made their way to Suna. As he did, he briefly summoned a clone to write a note and send it the minute they pass a mail post to prevent suspicion from Sarutobi. But Veronica and Margaret. As for the last two princesses of Lions, the two were watching the blonde as he stared out at the landscape. Once again, they looked at the last message their sister gave Naruto and Ban in the scroll that the former gave them before they left their old home. Since he is our descendant, that makes him the nephew of Veronica and Margaret. So, what do you think? Asked Veronica, feeling confused about losing and gaining family. I think we should give him a chance, or the very least talk to him. Sir Gowther can wipe and mess with memories, but from what Sir Ban said, his new power prevents manipulation of Naruto's mind. So, all of that we experienced was honesty, Margaret explained. What about his plan? Lions is gone, so is father, the rest of the knights and Elizabeth. She said the last part with a lump in her throat. Veronica, we cannot go back to the way things were. We may have lost our sister and home, but all we can do is move forward, Margaret said, although feeling despair as she lost everything but her nephew growing up with nothing. It's going to be weird, having a nephew in a new home. Hopefully they leave him alone once they learn he's a noble at the very least, Veronica said, trying to be positive like her sister. Yes, perhaps we should talk to him and learn more about him before we arrive, Margaret said with a smiling. It'll almost be like having another sibling, at least we'll be there for him if he accepts us. Besides, with you he'll have an uncle out of Gilthander, Veronica said, laughing as Margaret blushed. Well, maybe he'll enjoy having Griamore as uncle as well, Margaret countered, making her younger sister blush. What about me? They turned to see Hoser in the doorway. What about you? Asked Veronica. Hey, if those two are uncles, then what does that make me? Chopped liver? He asked. An emergency organ donor doesn't sound so bad, good thinking, Hoser, Margaret said, with both women laughing at the wind user. Hey, that's not what I meant, he shouted out his frustrations. Why me? He asked, leaving with enemy tears as the two continued to laugh. Perhaps change will be a good thing, Veronica said as her sister nodded. The next morning, Naruto quickly summoned hundreds of clones at the crack of dawn. Okay, we finally made Tsuna boys. This may take longer, but I want all of you to scour every inch just like lions. We have gluttony and pride to look forward to. He told his clones. Hi. They all saluted before dashing off the enormous pig in search of the mysterious cave. Now time for the waiting game. He said to himself as Hawk's mama sinked into the ground. Better wait inside, I'm not getting sand inside the suit. Naruto entered the tavern and found it to be empty. So the blonde just sat there contemplating Diane and King's location. A giant tree near a waterfall. And he was swimming for over an hour. Some kind of underwater village. He asked himself 2 hours passed since his clones went off to search for the sealed cave. After another hour of waiting, the blonde looked up to see that man in the iron mask that carries the heavy jagged sword. "Ah, Mr. Naruto, up early, are we?" asked Slater as he took a seat. "I've been up for a while, I just sent my scouts to search for Merlin and Escalates a few hours ago." Naruto answered, confusing the large man. "Scouts, you say?" he asked. "In this world we use strange techniques with energy called chakra, and that energy allowed me to make hundreds of copies of myself that transfer memory and experience once they dispel," he explained. "Is that how you were able to locate us in such a large kingdom?" Slater asked, feeling intrigued. "That's right, and it only took an hour and a half instead of searching for days," Naruto answered, impressing the man. "Besides, I have until the end of the week to head back before the village leader gets worried and I possibly get marked as a deserter, so time is of the essence," he said, earning a nod. "I see, it's because of your status as a rookie and being linked to Ban that you are under a time constraint. Hopefully those scouts find my big sister and Escalates soon," Slater said, getting a nod from the blonde Jinchuriki. The two were soon joined by Ban and Gowther, leaving the four at each other's company for another hour until a clone dispersed with a new memory that transferred to Naruto. "One of my clones popped, the cave is 25 miles east of us and it's protected by another seal," Naruto said. "Then we should reach my big sister right now," Slater spoke. "Alright, I'll wake up the pig," Ban said as he went to fetch Hawk. A few minutes later, Hawk's mama raised from the ground and started dashing towards the east. Several more minutes later, the pig stopped once they reached the cave. Naruto had Hawk stay back and watch over everyone else who was still sleeping, leaving Slater to join them in his place. Summoning Jutsu. "Selen." Naruto shouted, summoning his personal angel. "Selen, you know what to?" he asked the brunette, who smiled and nodded. "Who would that be?" asked Slater. "That's Selen. The angels and goddesses can be summoned by a technique that the modern day invented, and she's one of many who studied Elizabeth's seals and freed you guys, along with Gowther and Hawk," explained Ban. "Ah, so to free Big Sis and Escalates, Selen will have to help," said Slater, getting a nod from everyone else as Selen finished and demolished the barrier. "Is it safe to assume that more are in here?" Selen asked. "Yes, Selen, Escalates and Merlin are in there, so I would be very grateful if you would bear with us for a little while longer," he said. "It would be my pleasure, Master Naruto," she said, following the men inside. Surprisingly, this was a quick journey considering the fact the cave seal was weaker compared to the one surrounding lions and how quick it was to find the pair. "Well, thank God for shadow clones, Selen, you mind?" Ban asked the angel. "Right away, Master Ban," she said, starting the sealing process again for the second to final time. "So, what now?" asked Slater. "We wait for several minutes," Naruto answered, leaving everyone staring at the crystal stasis pods. A few minutes later, Selen disappeared yet again in her bright light as smoke filled the cave. "Great breakthrough," Naruto shouted, blowing all the smoke out of the cave as he did back in the dungeons of lions. "Okay, did they make it out?" asked Naruto. "Make what out?" "Who said that?" asked Naruto. "Me." Everyone turned to see Merlin floating with Escalates in all his muscular glory right behind her. She then turned her attention towards the only blonde in the cave. "Captain, did you grow?" she asked. "I didn't know you broke your curse." "I am surprised to see that Merlin herself was tricked by his appearance," said Gowther as he tilted his head. What tricked me?" she asked. "Ms. Merlin, I do believe you should look deeper into that man's appearance," Escalates spoke in a prideful tone. The woman in question soon floated closer towards Naruto as she scanned his appearance, then Naruto removed the hair covering his right eye, shocking the sorceress. "You're not the captain?" she asked, feeling shocked while Escalates tilted his head in curiosity. "Gowther, can you explain who this is?" Gowther soon activated his ability as he connected Naruto's memories with Escalates and Merlin. The two were bombarded with ample memory and information, leaving the two stunned at what they saw. "So, the captain and Lady Elizabeth have both passed on. They were both honorable people, and they will be missed," Escalates said, closing his eyes and facing the ground. "Such a shame, but we have no other purpose for now," Escanor, let's go, perhaps Naruto here will help us find a new purpose in this Konoha where he is from," stated Merlin. "I will walk to the ends of the earth for you, Ms. Merlin," Escanor said, following the floating woman who left towards the exit. "That was easier than I thought, time to head back to Konoha," Naruto said. "What about Diane and King?" asked Slater. "I haven't narrowed their location yet, so I think we should return, and I'll find an excuse to get back on the road later once I find their location," Naruto explained, getting a nod of understanding. The group exited the cave and returned back to the boar hat, and before Hawk's mama turned around and started sprinting all the way back to Konoha to where her journey began. Although what no one noticed was the red head watching them from afar ever since the large pig entered the desert. "What is this? Mother is wary of them. Especially the blonde one," the red head said to himself before dissolving into sand. A full day later. Naruto had already sent 2 more messages to Sarutobi, one to say he reached his destination and another to mark that he is on his way back to the village. Speaking of which, the blonde preteen soon heard a knock on his door. "Enter," he said as it revealed the last princesses of lions. "To what do I owe the pleasure, your majesties?" he asked politely while getting a snicker from Veronica. "We just wanted to get to know our nephew better," Veronica said, with Margaret nodding in agreement. "And I assume the same from Gilfinder and Griamore, or will I be expecting to talk with them later?" he asked with a smirk while earning a blush from the two. "Don't change the subject," shouted Margaret. "Anyways, we're still a little messed up and having some issues with adapting with new times," Veronica said, looking out the window. "Trust me, the moment I learned my parents left alone for 2 other siblings, I didn't even know I had messed me up, which only got worse when I learned I had 2 ancestors who froze their friends and family. Now here I am looking for them with a half-baked plan," Naruto explained, taking a seat on his bed. Margaret sat next to him. "You know, Naruto, we've spoken to Ban and learned a little more about your story," she said. "Yeah, Ban told me his story too, both abandoned by our families and left on our own to fend for ourselves. Going through scraps, or for Ban at least he had the courage to rob stands while I was too afraid, even though I would take all the hits just for standing too close to places that sold food. It was only a year ago that I freed him from his insanity." Naruto continued, making the other 2 look sad. "I can't imagine that. Father always thought of me as a tomboy and told me to be more lady like Elizabeth and Margaret. I always think about moments when he was around, the good and the bad. Now that he's gone, we still have his memory, and that way he isn't really dead," Veronica said, trying to connect with Naruto. "Elizabeth wasn't our real sister, but she's all we really had besides our parents, and we loved her so much." Margaret memorized but soon started to tear up, "But now that she's gone," she sniffled. "It's like we lost a part of ourselves, all we have is each other and some of the knights we grew up with." Veronica also began to fight the tears. "Veronica, Margaret, I don't want to be a replacement to fill the gap in your heart," he said, making the 2 look up at him in shock. "I want to work my way and build a relationship instead of earning a free pass. I want to help create new memories instead of painting over old ones. If we forget the past, how will we build the future?" he asked with a smile, making the other 2 understand his point. "So, what is this Konoha like, nephew?" asked Margaret. "People suck, but there's still some hope, and as long as you stick with me, I'll be able to make sure everyone makes a smooth transition into the village. Especially once I get the old man to understand the truth about my extended heritage," he said. "Well, no matter what, we'll be there to support you," Veronica said, hugging him from behind only to be joined by Margaret. Outside the room, Ban is seen smiling as he peeked through the door. "Naruto, years of abuse and hatred, and yet you haven't succumbed to using me or your wrath. Something that takes strength to defy gods is what you have. I hope you get the family you deserved," thought Ban as they slowly approached Konoha. Mount Mayaboku, or the Land of Toads. Jiraiya found himself summoned to the land of his summons by Fukasaku, the Elder Toad Sage. "Jiraiya-chan, Gamamaru the Elder Toad, said the prophecy has changed once again," he said, making Jiraiya run to the giant Elder Toad himself, who sat with a concerned look on his face. "Hey Fred, Carl, or whatever the hell your name," Gamamaru was interrupted. Jiraiya shouted in frustration. "No, my name is Gamamaru, you idiot," the Elder Toad Sage said. "Anyways, I need to be frank with you, not meaning my name is Frank, or what was I talking about?" he asked. "The prophecy?" Jiraiya shouted. "Oh, that's right, my drawings changed again," he said, with Jiraiya looking concerned, but not by the fact that it was an actual children's drawing made by a centuries-old toad the size of a building. "You aren't going to like this, Tom," he said, making Jiraiya grow a tick mark as the Toad Sage revealed a painting of a dragon-like creature eating its tail. "A child turned man wearing the sign of a beast, descendant of an angel and demon, will resurrect the 7 who wear the beasts proudly, will either destroy or rebuild the shinobi world. A child of abandonment filled with scorn to be replaced by love, will grow powerful and be the final judge after defeating an army of 10. Gamamaru explained. Child of abandonment. Angel. Demon. Asked Jiraiya, so the child of prophecy isn't directly the descendant of Minato and Kushina. Then who? The child who has been forced to become an adult who hides behind a mask who is about to reveal himself. Gamamaru explained, it's funny, I wonder who the jackass is that got ignored, the child of prophecy. I would get it if the kid was psychotic or an ass himself, but can you imagine how evil you must be to abandon a child at birth? That's messed up if I do say so myself, right Rick? He asked Jiraiya. Oh god, I am a disappointment. Jiraiya said to himself. You say something, Jimmy? Asked Gamamaru. Konoha. Hawk's mama went to hide in the outskirts of the village since Naruto explained his situation to everyone and promised to get them in at the end of the day since the tavern was pretty close to falling apart after all these years and pretty much lacked any room. Hendrickson and Dreyfus were still the wariest of the situation but agreed to follow Naruto's advice and wait for him at the tavern. Naruto didn't waste any time as he sprinted towards the Hokage's office. Eventually he just entered the office, ignoring the annoying disrespectful secretary. I'm back from my mission. He said, getting a smile from the old man. I assume it was a success? The old man asked. Well, that Allen guy made it to his destination. Naruto answered. Good, I'll just leave it at that. Sarutobi signaled his Anbu to leave as he placed a silencing barrier. Naruto, we have to talk, more importantly we have to talk about your parents. He said. You knew the whole time. He stated but not asked. Yes, but now a recent change in development has happened where I feel obligated to tell you now. Sarutobi said. I'm going to have to stop you right there, Gramps. Naruto said as he dropped his disguise, surprising the old man. Might as well tell both sides of the story. Why do you look like that perverted cook from that comic you used to read? Sarutobi asked. What cook? The one about the kid who wants to be king of the pirates and almost gave up his dream to see mermaids. He's like my former student Jiraiya, except women actually find him attractive. Sarutobi explained. Oh, I remember that one. Meanwhile in One Piece. Hey, who the hell is calling me a perv? I'm no perv. Shouted a blonde man with his hair covering his eye. You're a perv, you stupid cook. Shouted a green-haired swordsman. Screw you, mosshead. Shouted the blonde man. Hey, Sanji. Shouted a red-haired girl with the body of a pencil and a comically drawn bust. Yes, Nami Swan? Asked the man who now had hearts in his eyes. I have to agree with Zoro on this one, you're kind of are a perv. Said the red-haired woman, making the blonde man sulk in a corner. Back in Konoha. Yes, that was funny for about 10 seconds anyways. About your parents. Sarutobi was interrupted as Naruto raised his hand. I already know the truth and I'm already pissed about it. You can tell them that if they even bother coming back, I'd rather see this village burn than to join their family. He said, coldly, revealing his voice to have actually been lower and more matured and surprisingly less scratchy sounding. Naruto, I'm sorry for hiding the truth, but luckily for you there are a couple of laws that already protect you from having to join the Namikaze family. He said, surprising the blonde. Before Hashirama-sensei considered his brother, my other sensei Tobirama, to be the next Hokage, he wrote a law that should the current Hokage either resign or be removed for a heinous crime. However, Hashirama had some doubts his brother would fulfill the dreams of his village, since Tobirama was a bit more rough when it came to government, and added a law that should the Hokage leave for an extended amount of time without notice and valid reason, this includes with the people of Konoha, they are immediately removed from office and replaced by the predecessor or a new successor. Sarutobi. I'm guessing abandoning your child and leaving literally after your village while it barely survived a disastrous crisis is a poor excuse to leave for over a decade, isn't it? Naruto asked. No, there's nothing wrong with that. I believe it okay to dump the job on the old man who has to put up with civilians and shinobi alike, attacking a child while also handling the financial and military crisis caused by a monster roaming around the village. Said Sarutobi, sarcastically, receiving a chuckle from his surrogate grandfather. As for the other law? Naruto asked. Naruto, we at least show some civility in this village and have laws regarding child abuse, and you can pretty much guarantee that they were okay with throwing away a child when Kushina went as far as saying that as long as they were out of the village, you were banished from her clan as an excuse for them to leave you behind. He said sadly at the last part. It's good thing I learned about my other heritage. What do you mean? Naruto smirked as he removed a hair covering his eye, shocking another person, but that's not all. Naruto removed his vest and shirt and revealed his angelic wings. This is angel form, and I don't think I have to demonstrate my other form. Naruto said. Demon form? He asked, only to be surprised with the wings turning black and sharp, along with a symbol and marks covering Naruto's face, as more darkness covered his body. The boy soon reverted his curse form back to his normal look. You might want to sit for this one. Naruto said. The boy went on to explain how he learned the truth about his parents and his siblings, and how he continues to loathe them to this day, along with still having trust issues towards Sarutobi, with the latter understanding with how much he had to lie and kept secret. Forgetting that, Naruto went on to how two people named Elizabeth and Meliodas visited him in a dream and explained how the nine-tailed fox was actually dead but tried to take over their friend Ban's body in a desperate attempt to live. The fox's personality stayed but was dead, nonetheless, leaving Ban as a hulking psychopath even after he was sealed in Mito and Kushina, who both failed to free Ban from his uncontrollably hate. Naruto, however, fixed his issue and now coexists peacefully and can enter and exit the seal while remaining bound to Naruto like a normal Biju. Although the Biju still loathes both women for his mistreatment, as he was seen as a wild animal as he retained his memories as the fox. Anyways, Ban had trained Naruto for a year and actually fixed his diet, which explained his height and signs of muscle growth. Then came the shocking part. He went on to explain how Meliodas and Elizabeth left a message for Ban and Naruto to look for their friends and family, the Holy Knights of Lioness. The two princesses who were Elizabeth's sisters and their group, the Seven Deadly Sins, now 6 since Meliodas is dead. He went on to explain how Alan was a member who was frozen in time and used his facade as an excuse to leave the village to find a portion of the sins, since they were only able to find all but 2 of the sins. Now they were all waiting in the outskirts of the village for Naruto to get Sarutobi's permission to let them in, since their mode of transport was rather noticeable. Finally, there was the fact that Elizabeth was actually adopted by the King of Lions, making Naruto the distant nephew of both the Princesses of Lions and partially the blood of nobility. Sarutobi looked like a fish with a gaping mouth at how much he just heard and saw the look on the boy's face that showed no sign of deceit, as he kept a straight face along with no sign of discrepancies. So, hopefully I can get some time to find the remaining 2 after I figure out where they are, Naruto said to the still shocked Hokage. Naruto, I thinks it's best if I meet some of these people first. Maybe find you all a better home, since that old apartment may not be able to fill the needs of royalty or their guards, Sarutobi said, trying to fight off his shock. Thanks Gramps, I appreciate it. Some of these people were close to my ancestors and it's good to know I actually have a chance to have a happy family, he said happily. I have to repent my mistake, Naruto, and I have to start somewhere, and if you trust them then I'll give them a chance, Sarutobi said with a smile. Wait, I just realized something. Naruto spoke up as he was about to leave. What is it? Asked Sarutobi, raising an eyebrow. Since Minato left without notice, would that make him and Kushina missing Nin? He asked curiously as Sarutobi was shocked by the thought. Well, Naruto, then he realized it. Despite being Hokage at the time, neither Minato nor his wife had Sanin travel rights like Jiraiya and Tsunade. Oh my god, you're right. Sure, Kushina could have maternal leave, but it's been nearly a decade and a half, and even if your birth father was Hokage, he can't be given Sanin travel rights, as it's our duty to watch over the village. I know the village come first while family comes second is a sacrifice we make, but honestly they just left with me having to take the job before Danzo nominated himself, Sarutobi said, now realizing how much trouble Minato just made for himself. The old man sighed as he took out several papers and a pen. You know, you could just use a shadow clone for that, right? He asked, surprising the old man. I mean, I had to make several hundred just to look for my family members. Besides, I actually had to search all over the outskirts of Suna and Uzushio, which took several hours with the clones going through every inch in both places. Naruto explained his answer, following with Sarutobi smacking his head on the table. Soon the old man made several clones to start working on the mysterious pile of paper that slowly been growing since they started their conversation. After a minute, the real heroes in Sarutobi handed Naruto a couple of documents. Just have your friends sign these and they'll be allowed to pass the gates. After that we can meet in the morning for me to register them as citizens of the village. Thanks Gramps, I'll see you in the morning, Naruto said, jumping out the window. The boar hat. So, what do you guys think about that Naruto guy? Asked Gilthander. Well, apparently I'm his organ donor, Hoser said, trying to make a print on the table with his face. When did this happen? Grimmore asked, looking at his sad friend. When your girlfriends were both thinking about that kid, Hoser answered, not looking up. The two blushed at the statement while Dreyfus was heard laughing in the back. So, my son and nephew are both smitten by the princess, eh? He asked. That's not funny, father, Grimmore said, only earning another laugh from the former Holy Knight Grandmaster. Regardless, lions may be gone, but the legacy is still with us, said Hendrickson, approaching the group. Despite the loss of everything, we should at least consider following Naruto and see what this village of his is like, said Hendrickson. Hendrickson is right, Lions is gone along with the king and his people, and all that's left is us along with girls and zeal. We need to assess the place before making a hasty decision, Gilthander said, with everyone nodding in agreement. They all turned to see Naruto opening the door, wings spread and panting. "Are you alright?" asked Dreyfus, feeling concerned. "Yeah, just rushed over here, forgot to use my wings instead of running. Luckily my stamina is considered ungodly, considering I dashed about 15 miles in 5 minutes. Naruto getting a raised eyebrow, and several blushed from the girls and Merlin for some apparent reason. "Anyways, I just need you guys to all sign your names on these documents before we head inside the village. Ban, you might want to sign too before I have to explain the fact you're the creature that attacked the village," he said, getting a nod as he placed the paper on the table. Everyone signed the paper before Naruto led them into the village. "Time for a new chapter in this adventure," Naruto muttered to himself. He made Ms. Merlin blush, something uncharacteristic of her. "He's earned my respect, maybe he can teach me as well," Escalates thought to himself. "If he's this fast, I wonder how strong he is. Maybe he'll give me a spar once we're in the village," Gowther thought. "Stamina," thought all the women except Merlin. "Why did I blush? Clearly, he was talking about exercising. Besides, I'm with Escalates. No wait, we're just friends," thought Merlin. "I wonder what we'll face with Meliodas' descendant," thought Dreyfus. "Top liver. Literally," thought Hoser, still staring down and almost hitting a tree with his head. "Hokage Tower. Enter," said the current Hokage, only to be shocked with a sight he wasn't expecting to see so soon. "Hey old man, I'm back with the family," shouted a blonde man. "Everyone's excited to be back. I think you should go get Naruto-chan, I'm sure he'll be excited to meet his family," said the red-haired woman. "Yeah, call that Brad, I want to start his training," said the older blonde woman with them, with two younger girls in front of her. "Where's my Nikki?" asked a little boy with red hair who didn't go unnoticed by Sarutobi. He gave the boy an innocent look but scowled at the adults in the room. "Anbu," he shouted, summoning of the elite shinobi. Naruto and the group were on their way to Konoha. "We forgot the money to pay for the hotel," Hawk said out loud, making Naruto run back to the tavern and return several minutes later. "Aren't you exhausted?" he asked his blonde friend, who shook his head. "I can keep going, but then again without the weights I would have been much faster," Naruto said. "What weights?" asked Hawk. "Oh yeah, even when we're not training, I make Naruto wear his weights to increase his strength and speed," Ban spoke up. "Wait, so is he carrying stones in his pockets?" asked Veronica. "Nope, seals that increase weight all over different parts of his body," Ban said. "Anyone want to give it a try?" he asked. "I volunteer. If Naruto can do it, so can I," Gowther boasted. "Okay, but I'm not dragging you," said Naruto, who placed a seal his arm. "It doesn't feel so heavy," Gowther said, waving his arm around. "I need to activate it first. I'll just use half the pressure," Naruto said, making Gowther collapse on his side. "A little help," he shouted. "I said I wouldn't drag you, and besides I used twice as much on both arms," Naruto deadpanned. "I gotcha," said Hoser, helping Gowther up despite the arm weighing them both down. "He wears these all the time?" thought one formerly prideful Gowther. "Perhaps you should hold off on sparring with my nephew Gil," said Margaret, who tried to help as well. Later at the village, Naruto managed to get the group past the gate guards. Before they made it far, they were stopped by an Anbu, Naruto Uzumaki. He asked, wary of the young man, not for what he contains, but from the fact he isn't in his orange outfit and is a lot taller now. "Yes, am I needed by the Hokage?" he asked. "Them and the council right away," the Anbu said before disappearing in a gust of wind and leaves. "Another wind user?" asked Hoser. "I'm not sure, but warriors here are connected to at least one of 5 elements, but that's one of things you can do with chakra," Naruto explained. "Besides, it looks like I'm needed. Ban, I need you take them to a nice hotel, not that crappy Golden Leaf place that owns most of the village," Naruto said. "Sure, you might want to take Hawk and Jericho with you," he said. "Wait, why me?" Jericho asked, thinking Ban was trying to get rid of her again. "You need to work on your political experience," Ban answered. "If anything, political will happen. Shouldn't Veronica and I be there for our nephew?" asked a worried Margaret. "No, just leave it to Naruto and Jericho. Besides, they'll bow once they meet the captain of the Order of Scraps Disposal," Ban answered. "He's right, come on Naruto," shouted Hawk in excitement. "I guess I'll take them, come on you two, I'll find you later, Ban." Naruto waved off his uncle, who took the group with him, leaving Jericho to reluctantly follow Naruto. "I guess it might be good to get some fresh air," Jericho said, following Naruto and Hawk to the Hokage Tower. "It won't be fresh when we run into those old farts called the elders," Naruto said, showing utter annoyance. "Well, if they give you any trouble, they'll have to deal with the captain of the Order of Scraps Disposal. Besides, they'll fear me when they see me turn into a dragon," Hawk boasted. "Dragon?" asked Naruto. "Dragon," answered Hawk. "Dragon?" asked Jericho. "Dragon," shouted Hawk. "Council office." Here is in Sarutobi, the Sandaime Hokage was known for a lot of things, from being taught by the first two Hokage to having to retake the hate after Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage, had supposedly passed away. Now he would run a meeting that would change the village, and alone with one Naruto Uzumaki. Now the shinobi clan heads, along with the civilian council with the elders, had taken their seats as they waited for the aged Kage to begin the meeting. "I've called you all here for," he was interrupted by a loud snap. "I see our guest has arrived early and doesn't know those doors are pull not push," he said as everyone turned to see a boot stuck in the door. "I guess he made it a pull now and not a push," said a male voice outside the door as he tried to move his leg. "I think I'm stuck." This earned a few snickers in the council room. "Well, whose idea was it to look cool?" asked a rather high possible female voice. "Shut up, Hawk," shouted the male voice who had issues moving their leg. "Here, let me do it," said an annoyed female voice showing the leg was barely able to do as much as wiggle. "No, you're in there good, I might have to cut you out," said the female voice. "Please be gentle," said the male voice, only for the female to sigh as you could hear loud chopping against the wooden door. After a couple of minutes a hole is made to free the boot attached to the leg. "Thank you," said the male in a cheery voice. "Don't get your leg stuck in the door," shouted the higher voice. "Geez, Hawk, you don't have to yell, you know," the male trailed off as they tried to pull on the door, only for it to remain shut. "It's not opening." "You probably got it stuck," said the female as the door was heard being pulled but not moved. "I think it's stuck. Or it's locked. God, that door hurt like a bitch," the male voice said. "Anyone in there?" "I think it's locked from the inside," shouted the male as more pulling could be heard. Sarutobi sighed as he signaled one of the Anbu to move and unlock the door to reveal Naruto, who was nursing his leg, a lavender-haired girl in armor, and a pig. The pig moved forward with a smirk on its face as it went to the center of both sides. "Greetings, honorable council, I am Hawk, and I am the captain of the Order of Scraps Disposal," shouted the pig, expecting a round of applause. "What the hell? It can talk. What ungodly evil made it? Anyone going to eat that?" Everyone turned at Tsumin Yuzuka. "What?" she asked as everyone silently judged her strange personality. However, Hawk was crying enemy tears in the corner from all the death threats until Naruto and Jericho stepped into the room to comfort their friend. Okay, is there a purpose to this meeting besides threatening my friend?" Naruto said as he pointed to Hawk as he was being comforted by Jericho. "Yes, Naruto, this actually involves you. You and your friends might want to take a seat for this one," Sarutobi said, gesturing for two open seats right there next to Hiashi. "They've been empty since Mito never needed to come representing her clan, and Minato never fully established the Namikaze clan. I thought it was an excuse for no one to sit next to. Just because I'm arrogant and I have awesome eyes doesn't make me an Uchiha, honestly. Besides having 360-degree vision, those eyes are pretty useless," Naruto said, making the Hyuga head fume. "Watch your tone, boy. These are the eyes of an elite," Hiashi shouted. "Oh yeah? Then name what they're good for besides good vision," Naruto said. "They see through genjutsu," Hiashi smirked. "So, can the Sharingan, but at least those eyes break genjutsu and cast them and copy jutsu and develop unique abilities after leveling up and are about as fast as the Byakugan and actually reveal your pupils. Shit, what can't they do? Maybe I've been taking my teammate for granted," Naruto said, making everyone laugh at Hiashi's expense. "Boy, my clan was here since the founding of the village," countered Hiashi. "So were the Senju, Uchiha, Uzumaki. Pretty sure Inuzuka showed up a decade later. I think the Akamichi came after that at the same time with Sasuke Sarutobi and his family," Naruto explained, further making Hiashi fume. "Hiashi, stop embarrassing yourself. Why do you think I put your nephew with Might Guy? He refuses to use any jutsu," Sarutobi said, shutting the man up reluctantly. "Fine, but there's only 2 seats, Hawk, I guess." "Already ahead of you," said Hawk as he took a seat away from Hiashi. "Can we trade?" he asked. "No way, I'm not sitting next to the creepy guy with no pupils," answered Hawk. "I guess you're going to have to stand, Jericho," Naruto said, making the woman sigh. "Unless you want to sit on my lap," he said, making her blush. "Why would you even suggest that?" she almost yelled. "Then just stand behind me because that pig isn't going to move," he said as the pig had the face of determination. Jericho sighed again as she stood behind Naruto as he took his seat. "Okay, now does anyone have anything else to say?" asked the Hokage, feeling his patience already thin considering who he met the moment Naruto exited his office earlier in the day. Everyone remained silent, although there were a select few who were much more interested in seeing another outburst from Naruto. "Good. Naruto, as you know, you were abandoned for rather ridiculous reasons which have consequences themselves. Without further ado, let's bring in the defendants." He signaled the Anbu to open the doors, revealing several people that shocked all sides of the council. Naruto's eyes widened as the whole room began to grow drastically cold as signs of his curse mark was revealed. Naruto calmed down. He said, making the boy powered down his curse mark. Beyond Oyame. Someone from the civilian side shouted. He's finally here to finish the demon. Someone else shouted, almost being impaled by Naruto's sacred treasure. Even as Genin, I will uphold the Hokage's law. Naruto said in a cold voice that scared Hawk and Jericho. He is right, councilman, my law is in effect as I am the Hokage. Sarutobi shouted. Well, I mean until this meeting is over, started the blonde man who was revealed to be Minato Namikaze started only to be interrupted. Try again, if I had the authority, I'd have that face demolished on the mountain from what you did. Shouted Sarutobi. Saru, I said I would be back, he was interrupted again. Yes, after you returned from your extended vacation while I was left here to protect your son from angry mobs, and the fact you left literally a week after the Kyuubi attack. The old man shouted. Sensei, aren't you overreacting? Asked Tsunade. I wasn't speaking to you. He shouted, scaring her. He never once shouted at her. Besides, this is also your fault as well. Without your staff weren't led well, letting several hundred lives to die from their wounds after the attack. Sensei, it couldn't have been that bad. I just took Shizune, I'm sure, the hospital. Yes, the hospital where they attempted to let people into just so they could attempt to kill Naruto after his hundreds of beatings and near deaths. Tsunade, at this moment your Sanin traveling papers are hereby permanently revoked. He shouted. Sensei, you can't do this. She yelled back. Why? Because you can't run off to drink and gamble like you used to. Better yet, what you are only good for besides medicine? He asked in a dark voice. Sensei, I'm a Sanin and the granddaughter of my sensei, and I speak for him when you are a disgrace to all Kunoichi who look up to you. Now stay silent before I liquidate your estate to pay back the families of those who died, since we faced an economic crisis after someone left. He said, scaring the woman, almost making her burst into tears. I refuse to say I'm related to that woman. Said Naruto, keeping his dark tone. Tsunade was about to say something, but was forced into silence by his dark aura. Is this his wrath? Or is this all the pent-up hate? Thought Jericho, remembering all the abuse from the memories Gowther shared and how Naruto would force himself into becoming optimistic. His rage is almost worse than Meliodas's, thought Hawk, who was too scared to face Naruto. Regardless, Minato Namikaze, you abandoned the village as its leader during a time of crisis, leaving with a fellow shinobi, even while their maternity leave was expired, making them a missing sin, and abandoning a child, leaving them to abuse and depression, and several attempts at taking his own before the age of 10. Hold on, old man, you can't be making things up. Shouted Kushina as her younger red-headed son held tight onto her dress. Nurse. He shouted, revealing a woman with carrying large stacks of paper. This is a total of 1% of his total medical records. I actually paid a personal fortune just to create a private wing in the hospital. Explained Sarutobi, making Kushina start to tear up as the pile was on the floor but appeared taller than most of the people in the room. As I said, while you were off enjoying eating gourmet meals, I found Naruto by himself at age 5 digging out of the garbage, only to learn that the orphanage kicked him out 6 months prior. He said, shocking the Namikaze family. I have more than enough testimonies of crimes against Naruto Uzumaki from several people such as Iruka Yamino, his Chunin instructor in the academy. The Ichiraku family, who were the only ones willing to feed him and found him half dead several times, and several Anbu with reports of a dog masked Anbu, leading several of the mobs, only for lack of evidence preventing said Anbu from imprisonment. He said, making Kushina break into tears. Why? Why didn't you people respect my husband's wish? Shouted Kushina, getting shocked looks. How could you all let my child be abused? Naruto was starting to have enough of this and started tapping his fingers at an alarming rate as he tried to calm himself, making his two companions worry about him. He could see the entire interaction with Minato yelling at the civilians and shinobi who tried to defend themselves, saying that he was the Kyuubi reincarnated by using some logic you'd expect from a child. At least Minato was having none of that bull being fed to him. Then there were those two girls who were eyeballing him only for him to scare them away with his curse mark, while the red-headed boy looked at him curiously and seemed unfazed by the curse mark, leaving Naruto to just ignore him. Well, I rest my case, as the Sandaime Hokage, I hears in Sarutobi, will not relinquish my authority to you Minato Namikaze, and will instead announce my successor after the Chunin exams end. Naruto, if you could come here for a second. The blonde boy complied, not even batting an eyelash at his family, and went towards the Hokage. Despite being a genin, you are still not an adult but a minor. He said, making him frown. However, since you've returned with your guests, I'm going to have to ask you make one of your aunts sign these documents for them to formally adopt you. He said, shocking his family. Now hold on just a minute, Naruto is my child and he is not leaving his family for some harlots he found on the road. shouted Kushina only to be crushed by Naruto's kai. Don't you dare badmouth my aunts. At least they have the decency to be there for me, and why would you care? You left one for the sake of two and decided to fill the gap with another child. If I were to stay with, you'd put me in some side branch like the Hyuga does with their slaves, or use me as some pawn for political marriage. Naruto shouted his frustration. But son, I promise it won't be like that, Minato said, only to be interrupted. You had many choices and left with an easy getaway, and expect a child-turned-man to expect warm hugs after a decade and a half of neglect. He responded as he took the adoption papers from Sarutobi's hands. I see why you hid them, old man. I no longer have a real reason to pass my hate on to you. He said, walking out the door with Jericho and Hawk going after him. Gears, you have to do something, Minato started. Don't drag me into this, you dug your own grave, and I will have nothing to do with this. This council meeting is now over. Sarutobi said in a huff as everyone left, leaving the Namikaze family and Tsunade to stand there and reflect on everything they just heard in the meeting. It couldn't be that bad, right? I'm sure Naruto just needs space, thought Minato. I need to get my baby back, thought Kushina in tears. I'm sure Sensei and Naruto need time to cool off, he won't go through his adoption, and maybe Jiraiya and I can offer him some training. What kid wouldn't want to be trained by a Sannin? Thought Tsunade. Was that Miyazaki? Why was he angry? Thought the red-haired boy. With Naruto, Jericho and Hawk. You guys go find Ban, I'm sure he's found a decent hotel for all of you guys, said Naruto. What about? Asked Hawk. I need time to cool off, otherwise my wrath will get the best of me, and with Ban still linked to me, I might turn into a fully formed fox and go on a rampage. Naruto answered. Well, where will you go afterwards? Asked Jericho. After I cool down, I'll find Hawk's mama and sleep in the tavern. I don't want those vultures looking for me. Naruto answered as he walked away only to have his arm grabbed by Jericho. Well, let us come with you. Jericho insisted. Yeah, we won't leave you alone, said Hawk. Naruto really wanted to tell them to leave, but they had that determination in their eyes he had when he wanted to become a shinobi and knew they would be too pesky to try and get rid of. Fine, besides it's going to take a while, so I don't expect you to be there waiting for me while I let my wrath's energy leak, he said, with the two nodding and following him outside of the village. 7 deadly sins, Ost sin of wrath. Later, Hawk and Jericho stood there at a distance in the woods as Naruto removed his shirt and let the darkness within him reveal all the curse marks around his body as the energy started to leak around them, forcing the two gasping for air and shivering from how cold the pressure of the dark energy is. He just stood there letting the energy escape his body and roam around the lush greenery, slowly killing all the plants and other vegetation around them. The two held on the whole time. The process itself took about 2 hours before he finished with a loud yell as he fell onto his knees in pain as the curse mark itself attempted to spread in order to prevent himself from being consumed by the darkness. After he stopped screaming, his marks disappeared and he took several heavy gasps for breath. As he tried to stand, he found himself falling on his knees only to keep trying to move forward. The pair couldn't take seeing him fall and force himself to stand up. After his final try, Naruto found himself on top of Hawk's back, with Jericho keeping her hand safely around him. Don't strain yourself, we'll take you to the boar hat, Jericho said, earning a smile from Naruto before he blacked out. His inner self can be pretty scary, don't you think? Hawk asked. I know, but if you remember the memories Gowther showed us, he's been through a lot more than all of us. Gila lost her father, I lost my brother, and the princesses lost their father and kingdom, but Naruto had nothing and was expected to die with nothing, Jericho explained, getting a sad look from Hawk. I know, if I'd lost my mom, I wouldn't know how to live with myself, cause she's everything I got before Meliodas showed, but now he and Elizabeth are gone, Hawk said, looking down before they realized it was raining. Hawk, we better find your mom fast, she said, getting a nod as the two rushed into the woods find the green giant. The pig herself was already underground, making it easy for them to enter right away. Jericho immediately started trying to carry Naruto up to one of the rooms and placed him on the bed. You can go to one of the rooms if you want, Jericho, I can watch him, said Hawk. No, that's alright, I want to be here when he wakes up, she said, pulling up a chair and faced Naruto's seemingly lifeless body. Okay, but I want to stay too, Hawk said as he climbed up the bed and curled up near Naruto as Jericho just sat there, not realizing that she was slowly drifting to sleep. End of song. The next morning, Jericho opened her eyes and found herself staring at the ceiling. Wait, why is she staring at the ceiling? She quickly got up and noticed that she was laying on the bed while the chair wasn't moved and Hawk was also gone. Although that wasn't her concern, Naruto was supposed to be the one laying down in bed, not her. She quickly got up and started looking for the boy by heading downstairs. Then she heard the burns of a frying pan as she made her way down to see Hawk somehow sitting on one of the stools and eating out of his bowl. Naruto immediately noticed her as she came closer to bar area. "Oh hey, I was just to bring you up your breakfast," he said casually, making her glare. "Shouldn't you be resting upstairs?" she asked angrily. "I'm too used to that process, and besides being connected to Ban's healing factor as a biju helps me regenerate. Come on, you must be starving since you haven't eaten since we made it to the village," he said, pulling out a plate of sausages and eggs. Jericho was about to speak up until her stomach spoke up for her, making her blush. "Come on, don't be shy, Ban drilled his cooking skills into me since he told me Meliodas didn't know shit," he said with a chuckle. Jericho took her seat and started eating, realizing that it was just as good as Ban's cooking. Naruto soon made his own plate and joined the two for breakfast, forgetting about yesterday's events and hoping to find peace for the day. With Ban, the Foxen of Greed soon found himself along with Veronica, Margaret and Gilthander on their way to Naruto's apartment. "Just a heads up, you may be his relatives, but his apartment is not fit for a king," Ban said, earning nods since they remembered most of the citizens hate Naruto and most wouldn't house him. The group made it and you could tell his companions were already disgusted by his house. What made it worse was the fact that it got tagged again, showing all the demon and kill yourself remarks. "Fun fact, biju are actually made of energy with no divine nor demonic power," Ban said, trying to lighten the mood. "Another fun fact, killing a Jinchuriki will only release the biju, and none of the other guys are very merciful after being pissed," he said, making them feel worse for the boy. "They'd be praising my nephew if this were lions with how much sacrifice he's put in," said Veronica angrily. "Regardless, we should still check on him," said Gilthander, hoping he doesn't have to unleash his wrath on any villagers. They went up to the door and knocked on it several times with no answer. "Naruto, it's me, open up," he shouted with no answer. "Your aunts and Gilthander are with me." Still no answer. "Hold on, I have a spare key," he said, trying to put it through the knob only for the whole door except the job he put the key into to fall. Ban quickly inspected the entryway. After many years of them trying to break in, and with us reinforcing those hinges and locks, it finally fell apart, Ban said, just as a part of the ceiling fell behind him. "Once we find better housing, Naruto will be moving in us," said a determined Margaret, with Veronica nodding in approval. After a few minutes of searching the rundown apartment, Ban came to the conclusion that Naruto hasn't been home in a while. "I guess he didn't come home tonight," Ban said. "Well, where else could he be when he's not home?" asked Gilthander. "Either in the hospital, hiding in the woods, or he fell asleep in the training grounds. I didn't see a riot last night, so the first two are out of the picture, so I'm assuming he got bored after the meeting and dragged Jericho off to one of the training grounds," explained Ban, getting a shocked look the moment he mentioned a possible riot. "What do you mean riot?" asked Veronica. "Oh, that, it's almost October, and that was the month some guy pretending to be Madara Uchiha possessed me in my fox form and made me attack the village," Ban said. "Funny cause the real Madara did the same in his fight with the first Hokage, which ended with him dead and me inside the belly of a redhead," Ban continued. Margaret got the gist of what he meant and sighed in relief. "At least my nephew wasn't attacked. We should find him before he does something to piss Jericho off. He may have been pretending to be an idiot, but he has the knowledge of pigeon when it comes to women," Ban said, earning a chuckle. Suddenly they heard voices coming from the outside. "Who's that?" asked Veronica. Ban immediately sensed the signatures around him. "Everyone hide, I'll take care of it," he said, making all three hides in the shadows. Ban quickly went out the door as he had to confirm his suspicions. As he went outside, he noticed 3 nips of blonde hair, 3 red ones and a white hedgehog-shaped hairstyle. "Damn it, I guess that's why he didn't check on us last night," Ban said to himself as he went inside. "Gil, take the girls into the outskirts of the village. There's a training ground near a lake. Naruto usually likes to go there when he's stressed." "What about you?" he asked. "I have unwanted visitors to deal with," he said, getting a nod as the linked-haired man grabbed the 2 girls and disappeared in a strike of lightning, leaving another hole in the ceiling. "Hopefully he's okay with living in the boar hat for a while," said Ban as the apartment was close to shattering. "Who are you? And what are you doing in my son's house?" Ban turned to see an angry Minato and Kushina. "I'm the guy who's been inside your wife," he said, earning several growls, "and inside that other red-headed bimbo. The only difference is that I was treated like a wild animal when I was inside this bitch," he said. "Who the hell are you?" shouted Tsunade, removing her green jacket. "Fake breasts, fake appearance, fake strength, fake image of a kunoichi. Honestly, Tsunade, Mito, but at least she was realistic. Tabarama may have been a dick, but at least he had the balls to use discipline, unlike Hashibaka, who was too soft," he said, getting a glare from the blonde woman. "You still haven't answered the question," said Minato, glaring at the unintentional sex joke he made towards Kushina. "Fine, Minato, let me make this simple for you," Ban said looking down at the shorter man. When you let that bastard Uchiha get away and left the village to fend for itself in its time of need. He started poking the blonde in the chest, then you made the greatest mistake, you ruined your son's life. He said making the man look down. That's right, even when I was unstable you left, the village started thinking that he was me creating the October Fox hunts. I can tell how proud you are considering you made another rugrat to replace the original one. He said pointing at the red-headed toddler. Leave Menma out of this. Shouted the blonde teen, clearly one of Naruto's sisters. I wasn't talking to you. He shouted unleashing his 9 tails and using one of them to smack her away. Kasumi. Shouted the red-headed twin as she ran towards her sister's side. Well, I'll leave you thinking about whose life you've ruined. I have to go find my son. I have to go find my son. He corrected himself. Oh no you, Jiraiya was about to grab Ban only for the fox to grab his arm but was powering up a Rasengan only for it to disappear as Ban shattered his arm and kicked him several times, making him fly into the wall. Jiraiya. Everyone shouted not noticing Ban leave in a fire shunshin. The 9-tailed fox is out. Shouted Kushina, oh god if he's out then, oh god Naruto. She said. We have to find our son. Said Minato as he and Tsunade picked up his injured sensei. Training ground 7. Okay, I'm sure Ban is on his way here, probably realizing I'm not at my crappy apartment, especially since I might need him if I get any of you interested in chakra. Said Naruto as he led Jericho and Hawk to his empty training ground, since he knew that Team 7 had their day off today. You said chakra is like a life energy you unlock at a young age, right? She asked getting a nod, but at what age does it stop being possible? I think 14 or 15, but Ban said there's some sealing method we can do, and since Ban has a giant amount of it, we can fill you up with some and can start training from there. He said getting a look of fear, Ban told me about how a bunch of you guys drank the demon blood, but don't worry this won't make you unstable, considering Ban will purify his chakra since his will make you insane. He said not getting a better look of confidence. Soon the trio was surprised to see lightning strike close to them. Oh hey Gil, you here to train too? He asked the Pinkett man. No, Naruto were you training all night? He asked. No, I was sleeping in the boar hat after the meeting happened. He answered. Why the boar hat? Gil asked. You might want to sit for this one. Naruto said as the three sat on the grass. He went over the contents of the meeting and seeing his parents again, and during that time, Hiruzen went over how Minato lost all authority as Hokage and lost custody of Naruto. Naruto then went on to explain that his wrath built up leading to Jericho and Hawk having to watch him as he recovered in the boar hat while his 2 companions refused to leave his side. Then Naruto went on to explain that since he's a low-ranking soldier and an orphan, he still counts as a minor, but Hiruzen gave him adoption forms for either Margaret or Veronica to fill out. Now that I think about it, the old man wanted to meet everyone this morning to process you all citizens. Naruto added just before a tornado of fire appeared revealing Ban. I met up with your birth parents and almost broke Jiraiya in half. He said getting a nod. And you think you would have to count as a citizen? Asked Naruto who shrugged. I've been here since the village was founded and I don't even have a bank account. He explained, I thinks it's best I stay attached to your gut. Well I guess we better postpone training, Ban you should grab everyone at the hotel so I can sign them in. Naruto said getting a nod as Ban left in a fire shunshin. Come on, we better not keep the old man waiting. He said making everyone follow him to the tower. Hokage Tower. Enter said Sarutobi dispelling his clones who were at work. As the door opened, Naruto walked in revealing Gilthander and the 2 princesses. Ah you must be the aunts Naruto has spoken about Sarutobi said. Yes I am Margaret 1st Princess of Lions, and this is my sister Veronica 2nd Princess of Lions. Margaret said as the sister bowed. I am Gilthander, Holy Knight of Lions. Gil said. And Aunt Margaret's lover. Naruto quickly added getting a blush from Margaret. You didn't have to mention that. Gil shouted as his cheeks turned red. Anyways everyone else should be here right now. He said as the doors opened to Ban leading everyone else in. Is this everyone? Sarutobi asked. Introduce yourselves everyone. Naruto said. I am Hoser, Holy Knight of Lions. Hoser said. I am Griamore, Holy Knight and protector of Princess Veronica. He said proudly. And her lover. Naruto added getting a blush from his other aunt. You didn't have to tell him that. Griamore shouted with red cheeks. He did it again. Shouted Gil. Okay knock it off you two. Shouted Dreyfus. I am Dreyfus one of the grandmasters of the Holy Knights and the father and uncle of those 2. He pointed at the pink-haired man and muscular man. I am Hendrickson, the other grandmaster is the Holy Knights. Hendrickson said. I am Gila, Holy Knight apprentice of Lions, and this is my younger brother Zeal. Said Gila as she gestured to the boy hiding behind her leg. I didn't properly introduce myself earlier, I am Jericho, Holy Knight Apprentice of Lions," said Jericho. "And I Slater, Captain of the Roars of Dawn of Lions," Slater said from behind his mask. "Now for us sins, I'm Ban the Fox, sin of greed of the 7 deadly sins, and know as the 9-tailed fox," he said, getting gasps from the hidden Anbu, making them take a defensive stance, only to be knocked out by Gowther with his power. It would have taken too long to explain the situation to them. "I am Hother Goat, sin of lust, sparkle," he said, making a peace sign over his eyes. "I am Merlin the Boar, sin of gluttony," said Merlin as Sarutobi suppressed the blood leaking out of his nose from the woman's apparel. "I am Escanor, I bear the mark of the king of the jungle, the lion, sin of pride," Escanor said, revealing the mark on his back. "And I'm Hawk. I am the captain of the Order of Scraps Disposal," shouted Hawk in excitement. Sarutobi laughed at the last one, already seeing Hawk's excitement. "Yes, good to meet you all. Naruto here has already explained to me why you are here and your relationship with him. He's our sister Elizabeth's distant grandson, making him our distant nephew," Margaret said. "Then since Naruto is an orphan and a low-ranking shinobi, I will grant custody to one of you," Sarutobi explained as the two sisters looked at each other, then Naruto, who smiled. "Take your time," he said. "Go ahead, Margaret, you were always the more responsible one," Veronica said as her sister nodded and filled out the document. "Then there's who else should look after him should you be unavailable," Sarutobi said. "I'll add your name below my mine, Veronica," Margaret said, getting a nod as she finished the last bit of information. "But I hereby declare you Margaret of Lions, legal guardian of Naruto Uzumaki," Sarutobi said as the two women wrapped their arms around their nephew. "Lucky bastard," were the thoughts of Griamore and Gil. "Now for citizenship, unless some of you are capable of being shinobi," Sarutobi stated. "And I think the Sins should sign up as shinobi, since they'll have more freedom to do whatever," Naruto said. "That's right, then there's everyone else but the princesses and Zeal who can't defend themselves," Ban added. "Hey, I can totally protect myself," Veronica shouted in outrage. "You do remember I grabbed you in a second, right?" Ban asked. "And you were blown up by my mines," Dila added. "That's because I never got that chance since father forbade anyone from training me," Veronica countered. "Still, I want a chance and I don't want to live the boring life of a civilian," she continued. "And Margaret, what do you think?" Naruto asked, making the older woman sigh at her little sister's antics. "As her elder, I will let her prove herself, preferably under Hendrickson or Dreyfus' guidance," Veronica cheered, "but the moment she's too injured to continue or fails, I want her back as a civilian." Veronica fell face first into the floor. "Alright, I will get the necessary paperwork," Sarutobi said. After a long meeting, Ban and the rest of the Sins along with Slater were given Jonin rank. Hendrickson and Dreyfus were also given Jonin rank but marked as senseis, while Gila, Jericho and Veronica were given their own team, as Genin being instructed under Hendrickson and Hoser, Griamore and Gilthander were put under Dreyfus as a sensei. To support the decision, Gowther carefully passed on information to Sarutobi's mind, revealing their combat experience without having to go to the effort of testing them on the field. In the end, he gave everyone but Margaret and Zeal a forehead protector that they either put on the forehead or around their arm. "Before we wrap up this meeting, we still have one more thing to mention," said Margaret, who turned to her sister, who nodded. Veronica places her hand on Naruto's shoulder. "Naruto, Margaret and I have thought things over, and since we adopted you, we've decided to let you take our surname," she said, and soon found herself grabbed in a tight hug. Veronica smiled at the sense of affection and returned it. Everyone smiled at the affection, and Sarutobi quickly pulled out a new document. "I guess you have to fill this one out now, Naruto," he said to his surrogate grandson, who couldn't contain his excitement and signed the document. "Now for his legal guardian," he said, prompting Margaret to sign it. "I hereby rename you Naruto Lions," he said, getting a round of applause. No one but Sarutobi was able to sense the man outside the Hokage's window hiding, listening into the conversation. "Crap, sensei, what did you do?" thought the man as he went of roof jumping. "I have to tell Minato and Kushina, we have to annul this," he thought, worried. Later at the training field. Naruto Lion soon found himself at the training field again, preparing seals with Ban. The two took detailed precaution as to the impact. Meanwhile, all the knights except for Hendrickson and Dreyfus were studying the scrolls on chakra theory. "So, you're saying our magic power might not enough?" asked Gilthander. "It's good, but learning a little bit more than firing it willy-nilly might not be enough to survive in this world. Besides, even if your lightning element is more powerful than any normal shinobi could reach, learning a few techniques help. Besides, something tells me hand seals might be irrelevant within a few years for you guys," Ban explained, finishing up the seal. "Okay, we're finished. Ban, you might want to get your chakra ready while I get ready in case of any incidents," Naruto said, getting some scared looks. "Incidents? Are you sure my son and nephew will be alright?" asked Dreyfus. Well, after tapping into my elements after awakening to my demon and goddess powers, I kind of learned I have some access to all the elements, depending which of the powers I activate. Another fun fact, certain combinations of elements can create new custom styles. For example, water and air create ice, and while earth and water create wood. Naruto said, still confusing everyone. Sorry, I went on a tangent there. I was getting to wood, which allows me to suppress Ban's power, which can help considering the last time I tapped into his power I went insane. He finished, making everyone feel skeptical. I'm having second thoughts. Veronica said. Hey, I'm sorry that the only person here that can access chakra without this ritual is Zeal. He said, shocking Gila. What does Zeal have to do with this? She asked, feeling threatened of her brother's safety. I'm just using him as an example. He's still a little kid, so he has like 5 or 6 years available to him if he wants to develop his chakra naturally. Naruto said, calming her down. Well, anyone who's got second thoughts can stand back, everyone else can stand in the circle. Ban said as Jericho was the first to move into the circle, first getting looks of surprise. Jericho? Gila asked. I'm taking this chance, I don't want to be useless anymore, and Ban promised this won't be like the demon's blood, and besides Naruto will stand by in case something does go wrong. Jericho defended herself while Gila winced, remembering the demon's blood and how it affected her and most of the holy knights. Then there was the reporter, father died from the transformation caused by the demon's blood. However, she looked up again and saw Hoser and Griamore moving up next. Really, I expected Aunt Veronica to go next. I guess Uncle Griamore is more brave than the princess. He said, causing the two to blush. You Uncle G. Griamore? Griamore asked, blushing, while Hoser laughed. Ahahaha, looks like you became a great uncle already, my friend. Hendrickson laughed at Dreyfus's expense. Dreyfus looked in confusion as Slater and Gilthander also took up their spots. Yay, Uncle Gilthander stepped up. Gil blushed at the words as he ended up turning towards Margaret, who looked away in embarrassment but failing to hide her blush. Veronica got over her fear and moved up along with Gila, who overcame her fear. You two sure you don't want to join in? Ban asked the two Holy Knight Grandmasters. We can handle instructing them, but this chakra energy you speak of might not something we're really willing to experience. Dreyfus said, remembering being possessed by a demon and earning energy from something considered a demon wouldn't help. Sir Ban, not to offend you anything, but we've had enough with demon powers. Hendrickson added. I'm a structure of energy that can turn into a fox, but whatever, I see where you're coming from. Ban said, shrugging off the demon comment. This might take a while, so you all might want to get comfy. Naruto said, activating his goddess powers as Ban's eyes turned to slits as a chakra cloak appeared. Zeal, sweetheart, please hold my hand until your sister's done with the ritual, okay? Margaret asked a little boy who looked nervous. Okay, Lady Margaret. He said, grabbing her hand. The Jinchuriki and his tailed beast soon began their ritual, causing a large force of demonic chakra to heavily drop a large amount of pressure onto everyone, forcing most of them to take a knee or lay down on their stomachs. I never would have taken a liking Ban for the magical arts. Said Merlin, being impressed by the rather complex ritual considering the man was a thief and a drunk for most of his life, but became an intelligent and nurturing father figure. The ritual ended 20 minutes later with everyone feeling exhausted as Naruto prepared his Mokuton to summon several branches from the ground, preparing for any unstable pseudo-Jinchuriki to run around loose. After a minute, everyone appeared calm, but what Naruto soon noticed were their faces. Everyone had whisker marks. Margaret was the first to point this out as she ran towards Gilthander's side as Zeal did with Gila. Bill, your cheeks. She said, stroking them, getting an odd reaction. You just purred. She said, making him blush. Zeal did the same with Gila, getting a purr as well. Big sister, you also purred. He laughed, stroking her, making Gila push her brother away. Slater was the only one lucky enough to have a mask on to keep his whiskers hidden away until Merlin appeared in front of him. Slater, remove your mask. She ordered. Big sister, why do you ask something odd from me? He asked, feeling nervous. It's an order from your big sister, now be a good little brother and let me see those cheeks. She commanded again. I would, but I have warts. He lied, but Merlin wasn't having any of it. Escalates, be a dear and hold him down. She said, and the muscular man soon grabbed Slater from behind before he had the chance to escape. Yes, Ms. Merlin, now hold still and let your big sister stroke you. He said as Merlin removed Slater's mask, making him purr after stroking those cheeks. Ahahaha, you know Escalates, I bet you would cute with these whiskers. She said, complimenting her admirer. Perhaps it would, but such power is unnecessary for someone of my standing, Ms. Merlin. He said as his weaker self blushed internally. For the rest of the day, Ban and Naruto checked on everyone's status as a temporary pseudo-Jinchuriki. After they finished, Ban explained how his energy would return within a week, but their chakra coils should soon purify and develop on their own after the demonic energy leaves their bid their goodbyes as the Holy Knights, Princess and all sins, but Ban left leaving Hawk, Ban and Naruto to head back to the Boar Hat. Naruto soon crashed onto his bed with Hawk at his side as Ban did the same in his own room. Midnight. Naruto and Hawk were enjoying their sleep until they heard several bands on the front door, trying to ignore they both tried to fall asleep only for the banding to get louder. Naruto groaned as he got up and went to the door as Hawk yawned and followed him. As the two went down the stairs they ran into Ban, who also looked annoyed as well. I swear if this is a summons to the counselor a salesman, Ban started who was already annoyed. I'll put oil in the fryer, maybe unwanted visitors will make good scraps for the pig. Naruto said as Hawk was unfazed. Might as well feed them to mom while we're at it, Hawk said. Naruto rubbed his temples and opened the door to get ready to yell at his unwanted visit. Hello, Sachi. The stranger said and Naruto's adjusted as they widened at who he saw outside his door. May we come in, it's been a while since we talked. Naruto's eyes quickly turned red with black slits as he summoned Lost Vein to his side as Ban soon noticed who the visitors were and pulled out his 3-section staff. Hawk didn't like what was going on, pulled out one of Merlin's food pills and turned into his dragon form. Please, we just want to talk, said another voice only for Naruto's chakra to flare, getting the attention of a lot of people within the village. Hiruzen Sarutobi woke up in his family's estates and prepared his Anbu to search for Naruto. In the hotel, Merlin woke up Gowther and Escalates as they quickly got dressed and left to search for the source of energy, assuming it was either Ban or Naruto who got themselves into some kind of trouble. Why the hell are you here? Naruto asked as his curse mark started covering his face. Last time. Can we trade? He asked. No way, I'm not sitting next to the creepy guy with no pupils, answered Hawk. I guess you're going to have to stand Jericho, Naruto said, making the woman sigh. Unless you want to sit on my lap, he said, making her blush. Why would you even suggest that? She almost yelled. Then just stand behind me because that pig isn't going to move, he said as the pig had the face of determination. And the epic saga continues. Konoha 8 years ago, age 6. Naruto was bawling his eyes out as he ran back to his apartment and locked himself inside. The reason was not for the constant belittling or hate from the villagers. It was the secret he uncovered from the man he saw as his grandfather. He went snooping around the Hokage's office and found a file with his name on it inside his birth certificate. His real name, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, son of the 4th Hokage and Princess of Whirlpool, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. Not only that, there were notes of them being alive and leaving with his sisters he didn't know he had. Asumi and Narumi, both holders of the 9-tailed fox's chakra, while he contained the tailed beast's soul. He saw the letters and messages revealing that they left him on their own accord right after the fox attacked, letting the toddler know he was hated for holding the demon fox itself. His pseudo-grandfather lied to him all those times asking about his parents, and here they were alive and abandoned him. He cried all night in his crappy apartment, thinking his parents left him because they didn't love him. He was alone and nobody loved him, and the Hokage was probably torturing him behind his back. Sadly, Naruto was too discouraged to confront the old man about this, let alone dig more into the information of his parents. Age 12. Naruto soon found himself inside his dream. Something inside him felt off as he kept tossing and turning, feeling as if half his body was burning while the other half felt frozen. Suddenly the dream pulled him into a bright new world filled with lots of greenery. The boy woke up and felt as if part of his face was burning, forcing him to clutch part of his face in pain. Meliodas, he's here. He heard a soft female voice. So that must be him, he's pretty short for a warrior, said a male voice. You're one to talk and you've led the 7 deadly sins. He turned and saw a beautiful woman with blue eyes and silver hair. Next to her was a short young man with blonde hair and green eyes. As the two had their little conversation, the blonde man noticed Naruto noticed them. Oh hey, are you Naruto? Asked the blonde man, receiving a confused look. Yeah, that's my name, but who are you two? Naruto asked the two, who looked at each other for a moment, then smiled and nodded. Well Naruto, this is going too hard to explain, but we're your great-grandparents from centuries ago, said the silver-haired woman. In a nutshell, we're ghosts, but we can still feel each other. The blonde man said the last part as he groped the silver-haired woman's large breasts, making her face turn red as she whimpered in embarrassment. Meliodas, please stop. We just met our grandson, that doesn't mean should mentally scar him, she said as he continued to grope her. Sorry Elizabeth, but you know this is how I show affection, the man now named Meliodas said as he stopped and kissed her cheek. Grandparents, so you two are related to me? Naruto asked. Of course, we are. We wanted to meet our descendant, said Meliodas. We have a lot to talk about, Naruto," added Elizabeth with a bright smile. For the next hour, the three sat down on the grass as they regaled Naruto in their story thousands of years ago, just before the era of the Sage of Six Paths, where there was this kingdom named Lions where Elizabeth was the princess and Meliodas was a holy knight assigned to guard her family. Meliodas went on about his history thousands of years before, about how he met Elizabeth's previous incarnations and the curse that caused his immortality, followed by the Great Holy War, followed by the formation of the 7 deadly sins. The group of 7 individuals all bearing the mark of a beast with their own unique abilities and how they were framed by the demon clan who possessed the 2 Holy Knight Grandmasters after they killed the original Grandmaster at the time. Elizabeth helped them reunite after hiding and saved Lions, only to discover the conspiracy of the demon clan, which led to saving the Kingdom of Lions and later the Kingdom of Camelot. However, it didn't stop there as the demon clan's elite chosen by the Demon King himself were unsealed and returned to the world. The 10 Commandments released demons onto Britannia as the elemental nations were called before the Sage of Six Paths changed everything. Eventually the sins won and defeated all but one of the commandments, Zeldris, Meliodas' second younger brother who was loyal to the Demon King. Sadly, Lions was engulfed in another holy war and his best friend Ban was turned into a dark being of energy called a tailed beast in the shape of a fox. Naruto immediately recognized that Ban must be the fox trapped inside of him, which Elizabeth confirmed looking at his seal with her goddess eye. Meliodas and Elizabeth both explained that they would pass on their demon and goddess abilities as they knew the village would want him dead, but he had a much bigger role to fulfill. After helping him get an understanding of his abilities, the couple went on to explain how they froze their friends and hid them around the elemental nations. As for Ban, Elizabeth had her own sealing techniques developed that was greatly advanced compared to those of modern-day seal master and found a way for Naruto to free him from his aggressive state. For the rest of the time, Meliodas and Elizabeth spoke to Naruto and comforted him about his feeling of abandonment, knowing the truth of his family, however the two did their best to cheer him up. Meliodas wasn't good with words or understanding of family, which left Elizabeth to talk to her grandson in order to help with his depression. Through their talk, Naruto learned about the concept of protecting people that are precious to him, which led to him thinking about the few that care like the Ichirakus and his sensei Urukayamino. After their long talk, the couple passed on their equipment and abilities. From Meliodas, his wrath, the sacred treasure lost vein, one of his outfits since apparently orange, didn't cut it for the sin of wrath either, and note for Ban from the both of them. From Elizabeth, her goddess eye along with her wings, her sealing arts and a technique to summon members of the goddess clan, it was something the modern people of the elemental nations called a summoning contract. So, this is goodbye, huh? Naruto asked, looking down at all the objects his ancestors left him only to get a tap on the head. Don't think of it as a bad thing, fish cake. Besides, now you know that you have family that cares about you and even more waiting out there for you. Meliodas answered as Elizabeth nodded in agreement. Just because you won't see us anymore doesn't mean we'll drift away. We'll always be at your side cheering you on from the sidelines. Elizabeth added. We never had the chance to meet you, but we see how great you'll be, maybe you'll make a bigger name for yourself. Whatever happens, we'll be proud of you. Meliodas finished only to be surprised as he and Elizabeth were both engulfed in a hug. Thank you, a family, it's all I wanted. He cried as the two hugged him tightly as the world soon began to fade away. Remember about the family you have waiting for you. They both said, goodbye, Naruto. Thus, the two disappeared and Naruto woke up to find all the items in his arms. He quickly recalled his dream and now sported a look of determination. A new mission fell upon him. Reunite his family, first the one stuck in his gut. A few months later, Naruto eventually learned how to activate his eye, and after the use of his summoning contract given to him by Elizabeth, the boy found himself in a realm similar to heaven. There he met the new system established within the goddess clan after the last holy war ended. After his initial arrival, his eye went off on its own, revealing his identity to the angels and other inhabitants of the realm. Naruto then explained to the goddess council who he was, and they searched his mind for lies only to find the truth and accepted him through some pure of heart test that invaded his mind. Finally accepting him, the goddess clan declared Naruto worthy of being their summoner and granted him a familiar named Selene, who had yet to earn her own wings. From then on, they had worked on teaching him the sealing arts which Elizabeth established, along with the abilities they've obtained since the dawn of their existence. During this time, they studied his seal and found a way to free Ban from his insanity as the nine-tailed fox. Ban was freed through a quick scuffle and learned about Naruto's true purpose of freeing him, thus beginning another year of training under the now Bajufi deadly sin. Afterwards began our story of finding the rest of the 7 deadly sins and remnants of the Kingdom of Lions. Present day, I know, you were all waiting for this. Naruto now stood in the doorway, behind him was his father figure Ban the fox sin of greed and his new friend Hawk, a pig that turns into any magical animal he eats. I ask again, what are you doing here? He asked at two people in front of him. Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, his former parents who willingly abandoned him for the sake of raising two other children and then replacing him with another child. As he looked behind them, he could see one blonde and one redhead with a smaller redhead holding her hand, his biological siblings. Next to them, two of the Sanin Hiruzen Sarutobi's former students, Jiraiya the Toad Sage and Tsunade Senju the Slug Princess. Sachi, Minato began but heard a feral growl. Naruto, we're your parents, another growl this time from Ban. We've come to take you home. At that point he received a door slam as Naruto didn't want to waste any of his wrath on his birth father or anyone else. However, before he could go back, he heard more constant knocking on the door. Go away. He shouted only for more knocks. I said go away. He shouted as the knocks constantly became more consistent. I'll deal with them. Ban said, rolling up his sleeves, keeping his three-piece weapon on hand as he opened the door. Can't you damn people leave us the hell alone? You forgot him for most of his life, why would he want you now? He asked, shouted, making some of them flinch. The red-haired girl Narumi decided to speak up. What would you know? You're the reason his life is miserable. She shouted only for her knees to fail her as Ban emitted his kai. I'm sorry, was I the one who abandoned him? No, was I the one who beat him into an inch of his life? No, was I the one who started hunting him like a wild animal on his birthday? No, was I the one who kicked back eating lobster, walking on the beach, and expecting to get everything right back, returning to a village that was practically destroyed and leaving a baby behind for the village to kill him, only to be defended by an old man who's close to knocking on death's door? He shouted the last part. So, tell me, what exactly have you done that's so great? What have you done worthy of him coming back to your family when he has a new one who accepted him with open arms? He asked, still emitting his kai. Tsunade decided to use her grade A first grade English speaking skill, Japanese in their case, on Ban. Stop lying, stupid fox, you and Sarutobi sensei are just trying to guilt trip them. Now tell that dumb brat to come out, and Tsunade soon found herself punched and sent flying 100 meters. Your pathetic excuse for a kunoichi have no right to assume lies. The only good thing you're for is being a band-aid, other than that you had to hide behind a pervert and pedophile, earning your title narrowly after surviving a fight with Hanzo. Ban said coldly as Tsunade was shocked to see her body was unable to respond to her movements. Ban soon looked to see several chakra chains around him. You know, this would work if I was still insane. He started as he flexed his biceps as the chains themselves cracked and fell apart. The thing is, I was never normal before I became a biju. He added, now if you excuse me, I'm going back to sleep. He said casually, putting his hands in pockets. What nobody thought he noticed was Minato and Jiraiya preparing Adama Rasengans. The two charged him, not knowing Ban was about to strike back, only for a fast blur to pass his sight. The fox in soon turned to see Naruto drawing out Lost Vein and his short sword about to block both Rasengans. Full counter. He shouted, sending both jutsus back, obliterating their owners. The smoke cleared, revealing Naruto in his basic curse mark stage, as his eyes turned dark purple and lost his pupils, but maintained a less than satisfied look. Come on Ban, I don't have time to put up with stupidity. He said, getting a nod only for several sets of chakra chains coming towards him. Naruto quickly dashed away and started making copies of himself to start cutting down the chains. Sachi, please, come home so we can be a family again, shouted Kushina as tears formed in her eyes. You had nearly a decade and a half hoping to train two girls to use one trick that they lost. Then you replace me with that. He pointed at Menma, who was hiding behind his sisters. Now you have the audacity to want me back. Why? Because I have more potential. Because you can't handle someone else giving me love. Or is it to boost Jiraiya's ego, so he could be recognized as the guy who saved humanity because of that toad's crappy drawings? He asked, getting a shocked look. How do you know about the prophecy? Only the toads know about it, asked Jiraiya, feeling concerned. You forget about the other powerful summons and the ones who came before them. He said, confusing them. Thousands of years ago there were only two clans, and one of them is currently sealed away, and the other was the one who initiated the concept of animal summoning. However, some became rogue and were either hunted down or left in hiding until the clan itself disappeared, leaving species like the snakes and toads to move around as they wish. Naruto explained, getting confused look except for Jiraiya, who knew the story since Fukasaku and Shima explained the story based on what Gamamaru was able to remember, but never knew who started the summoning contracts. Well then, how do you know the story? What summon do you have? Jiraiya asked, only for Naruto's wrath to go down as he takes off his jacket, revealing his two large wings with two smaller ones beneath them. The goddess clan, but modern legends call them the angels. He says, shocking only Jiraiya and Tsunade as they were the only ones to hear the tales of an angel summoning contract. Something rarer and possibly more powerful than the stories of dragons and hellhounds. Now that's enough for tonight. Naruto said, covering his wings and turning back around the tavern. Come on Ban, I'm not in the mood and the exams are in a couple days. Wait, we're not here brat. Shouted Tsunade in outrage. First the kid is too stubborn to come back to his family, next she had her butt kicked in a single strike, and now the brat claims to have potentially the rarest summoning contract. Really? Because I'm done with you. He said, not looking back. Without warning he pulled out Lost Vein as he slashed at multiple chains, making them shatter faster than they appeared. I said. I'm done with you. He said, looking at his sisters and Kushina. Before Kushina could say anything, she felt a slam in her face and fell hard on her side. She looked up and saw a freak of nature bow before the captain of the Order of Scrap's disposal. Hawk shouted. Now fear my form, tyrant dragon. He shouted, confusing the three women. Dragon? Kushina asked. Dragon? Hawk responded. Dragon? Kushina asked again. Dragon? How many times do I have to repeat myself? He shouted, beware my flames. He shouted as Kushina braced herself only to look up again to see Hawk panicking as fire came out of his snout. Hot. 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 He panicked. You really need to practice that. Ban deadpanned, then stuck out his hand, not looking at what he grabbed. Minato looked in shock, seeing his Rasengan was stopped again without effort, but smirked as he saw Jiraiya finishing a seal and running towards Ban. Now sensei. He shouted, getting Ban's attention as Jiraiya placed a seal and activated it, smirking at Ban's surprised look. Fuin. The Toad Sage was interrupted. The seal was negated and sent him flying back. Nice try, but I have my own safety seals. Ban said, putting chakra around his torso, revealing a white rune-style seal on his back. So, the angels went ahead and said something about a bunch of guys wearing nail polish with black cloaks covered in red clouds. Long story short, they want to get my power, which involves possibly killing Naruto, so Fishcake decided to put safety seals on me. Ban said, shocking everyone and Jiraiya, who recently heard about the Akatsuki. Ban, let's go back before we waste any more time. Naruto said, getting a nod as the two and Hawk, who was still nursing his nose, walked. Just as they made it the entrance, Naruto quickly caught the tri-pronged kunai and smashed it in his hand. I'm done with this banter. He said coldly. Minato soon tried using his signature technique only for everyone and his family to find themselves surrounded by purple squares. Merlin's here. Hawk said as his burns healed up. Took you long enough, beautiful. Naruto said, looking up to see Merlin float down with Escanor and Gowther at her side. Well, I would have. Wait, what did you just call me? Merlin asked, suddenly blushing. I said woman. Naruto lied, keeping the same face, while Escanor felt jealous and Gowther tilted his head. Not even Escanor could make someone as serious as Merlin blush. As a big brother I should congratulate him. Gowther thought. Merlin still kept her blush. Oh okay. Anyways, I recently felt the presence of your wrath building up and I had to wake these before changing. She explained. Merlin, Escanor and I were the only ones who changed. You on the other hand took of your clothes and put a jacket on before we left. Gowther said, making Escanor blush, remembering the fact that Merlin is always wearing revealing clothes. Anyways, what happened and why does it involve these people? She asked as Sarutobi arrived with several Anbu on his tail. Naruto, what is going on? He asked, looking around to see the Uzumaki Namikaze family trapped in their mini prisons along with his former students. Good, now I don't have to explain myself twice. Naruto said, and he began to explain how the family woke him up wanting to bring him home, which led to a small scuffle involving them attacking Ban and them trying to grab Naruto with their chakra chains, only for both attempts to fail, ending with Merlin trapping everyone. Sarutobi sighed as he rubbed his temples, looking at the family and his foolish students. I guess as long as your power is kept under wraps and you have Ban under your control should he run wild, then I can dismiss the situation. He said, getting nods from Naruto and the Sins. As for the rest of you, I do not want a repeat of this incident, especially attacking the nine-tailed fox when he's restrained. In other words, I want you all to stay away from Naruto unless he approaches you first. Sarutobi said, getting shocked looks. Sarutobi, you can't just separate us, Minato started but was interrupted by a raised hand. You had nearly a decade and a half, yet you suddenly persist as if you've been close all your life. Why should I feel any sympathy for you? He asked. Here's in Sarutobi, there is no way I'm letting you separate me from my baby. Kushina shouted in rage. I could always keep them here, Naruto's predecessor couldn't break free from these cubes without his full power. Or I could transport them somewhere else. Merlin suggested. Just do that, I'll move the boar hat somewhere more secure in the morning. Naruto said. As you wish. Merlin said, ignoring his ex-family's protest as she transported them to the other side of the village. Since nothing too problematic happened, I will dismiss myself. I will see you during the Chunin exams, Naruto. Sarutobi said, earning a nod as he disappeared along with the Anbu. Thanks Merlin, I'll see all you guys in the morning. Naruto said. Good night little brother. Gowther said using his signature peace sign. "Good night, Mr. Naruto," said Escalates politely as possible. "Good night," Merlin said last before transporting herself and the other two back to the hotel. Naruto, Ban and Hawk went back inside continuing their sleep. The next day, everyone got together and prepared their training with chakra. Naturally, the three misfits were most eager in hopes of proving themselves. The three women were still nauseous at the feeling of the chakra coursing through their bodies, and Slater was being held down Escalates as Merlin started acting out of character and stroking his temporary whiskers. "Okay, everyone, I hope you're excited to learn about using your chakra," Naruto said as he pulled out several pieces of chakra paper. "Before we get into those boring exercises that Ban will want to start off with, I want to see what everyone's affinity is," he said, passing everyone a piece. "So, the basic rules are that it's possible to have more than one, but secondary or tertiary affinities might be weaker than your primary, and like what I said about wood, 2 or more affinities could create a custom one." Ban started. "For fire, it will obviously burn and turn to ash, wind will split in half, lightning will wrinkle, earth will crumble into dirt, and water will become wet and damp." He finished as everyone took their turns. Slater went first as his just crumbled into dirt, "Pretty strong only to earth, I'm sure that will easy to figure out," said Ban. Veronica went next as her paper became wet and partially wrinkled, "Mostly water, that might tough, but I'm sure lightning might best to start off with," said Naruto, giving his aunt some hope. Hila's paper started burning before exploding. "Seriously? If you didn't want your affinity checked you could have just said so, didn't have to blow it up. Fire is pretty easy to learn though, so good for you and your cute eyes," said Naruto. "Wait, what did you just say?" Hila asked, sporting a blush. "I said good for you," he responded, hiding the truth. "No, after that," Hila demanded. "After what?" he asked, looking confused as Ban and the rest snickered. "Never mind," she said in frustration, however that red on her cheeks was from something else. Jericho went up next, ignoring the joke. Her paper split in half with one side dampening and the other piece turning into ice. I wish that Hokage was still alive, only ice user I know, but then again at least you get to spend time with your new best friend, who's one of the few wind users here," Ban said, pointing towards Naruto. Now for the misfits. Hoser went up feeling eager as his paper split in half with one of the sides turning into dirt. "Cool, we can both work on magnet release later, I'll see you Jericho after basic are done, Hoser." Naruto complimented the only member of the trio who wasn't his uncle. Thunder went up next, creating wrinkles and damps. "Like I said, water is a bit tricky, lightning is already your strong point, so we'll start there." Gil merely nodded. Ryamor was also eager and quickly turned his paper to dirt. "Just earth again, at least it's a good element to use for defending against most elemental jutsu and physical attacks, you might want to work with Slater on that one," Ban analyzed. "Okay, that looks like everyone has their affinity checked, we'll work on a few control exercises before trying to increase your reserves. So, for now Ban's got a training schedule for all of you to follow," Naruto said as training began with his least favorite exercise, tree climbing. Then they would move on to water walking a couple days later before teaching them some basic jutsu. 3 days passed and with the help of Hendrickson and Dreyfus, Naruto and Ban managed to help everyone gain the hang of the exercises. For some reason Gowther stuck around after somehow finding a cheerleading outfit with pom-poms, hoping to find some energy into motivating everyone. At least his rather feminine figure made it less disturbing for some of the men, as he still had that neutral tone, despite yelling out positive things the whole time. The rest of the week passed and through some practice, the Jinchuriki and his beast learned that everyone's reserves were high chunin to low jonin level, making it difficult to perform low-level techniques like the clone jutsu. Naruto had some bad flashbacks that day, but he moved on teaching them his shadow clone jutsu, which in turn did scare some of them, knowing that they had a copy of themselves running around on their command, sending back memories once they dispelled. By the last day, Naruto had explained the concept of the Chunin exams and how difficult they may be to Dreyfus and Hendrickson, seeing if they wanted to let their assigned holy knights in, while mentioning that all Jonin senseis will likely be nominating the genin that graduated 3 months ago. After a long talk, the 2 former grandmasters decided to go for it, knowing that their assigned students have already had years of experience in the battlefield except for Veronica. And again, the girl has shown progress rather quickly and has started learning her elemental manipulation earlier than the rest. Next there was Gila and Jericho, who have been trained to guard her, but then there was the fact those 2 almost killed her the first time when under the influence of demon blood. They banished the thought as they looked at the 3 women working together on a jutsu Naruto told them about after they finished their chakra control exercises. In the end, the 2 agreed and decided to let their students join in the test. Even if they didn't earn promotion, they could still earn experience in what the shinobi world looks like. The day before the exams, Hokage Tower. The Jonins except for Kakashi arrived and quickly eyed the two new arrivals, a man with white hair and white armor, and a man with long brown and red armor with shinobi headbands around their arms were among them. After an hour, Kakashi finally arrived as he was seen forcefully dragged by several Anbu that Sarutobi sent, revealing that something was off since their Hokage was less relaxed than usual. Remind me to re-evaluate everyone on their rank. Clearly some people assume the rank they have warrants freedom to do whatever they wish. Sarutobi said in a neutral tone. Well, Hokage-sama, I was on my way until the Cyclops was interrupted. Kakashi, I swear if that ends with a lie, consider your Icha outlawed from the village. Everyone gasped at the Hokage's claim as Kakashi paled. I have no good excuse, I was reading my favorite literature. He said, quickly waiting for a nod of approval. Okay, now that is away, who will be nominating their teams for the Chunin exams? Sarutobi asked, getting everyone out of their stupor. Everyone. One of the rookie 9 sensei nominated their genin, just as Iruka began to speak up, only to be silenced by Sarutobi, who didn't want to have any of it. After a long argument about them being ready, he did point out to Iruka that Kakashi was the one who joined Anbu literally within a decade of his life. Thus, the argument ended, and it was time for the two former grandmasters to speak up for their teams. I, Dreyfus, nominate Team 11, Griamore, Gilthander and Hoser for the Chunin exams. I, Hendrickson, nominate Team 12, Gila, Jericho and Veronica for the Chunin exams. Sarutobi raised an eyebrow at the two, but concluded that Naruto must have explained the exams and predicted the senseis nominating everyone, despite being fresh out of the academy. All the other sensei eyed the strangers and the people they named, as they weren't seen around the village, and neither were their supposed students. They dismissed the Jonins for the day, leaving them all to let their students know about the upcoming exams. Meanwhile with Naruto. Our favorite blonde was currently walking Hoser and Gila, showing them around the village. Usually starting off with the ramen stand, the two were skeptical at first, but surprisingly almost converted to Naruto's ramen-based religion. After several dozen bowls, note that a third of these were consumed by the former holy knights, the trio moved on to looking around the village, checking out the sights, until they saw a large figure dressed as a cat, holding a little boy by his shirt. Naruto immediately recognized that the boy was Konohamaru and dashed behind the catsuit boy and placed Lost Vein behind his neck. Well, punk, you should, the catsuit kid was interrupted, feeling cold steel near his neck. This could end in 3 ways, but I'll let your friend here with a fan decide. Naruto said as he made copies of himself with Lost Vein surrounding the catsuit and pointing blades to his throat. 1. I end you here. 2. I turn you into the Anbu for hurting the grandson of the Hokage. Or 3. You put him down, walk away and pretend your life wasn't going to end. He said in a cold voice, making the catsuit feel cold sweat. Or maybe you'd like to speak to your angry Jinchuriki friend watching from the tree. He added as the two nin looked back to see a redhead who looked less than happy. Kankura, you are a disgrace to our village. He said in a cold neutral tone. The boy now identified as Kankuro stuttered. Shut up or I'll kill you. He threatened as Kankuro put Konohamaru down. I would like to apologize for my siblings' behavior. The redhead said. I see, can I assume you Sunanin are here for the exams? Naruto asked, eyeing the kid and noticing his strange aura. Yes, I am Subaku no Gaara, and who might you be? The redhead named Gaara asked. Naruto Lions. He plainly answered. I will hope to see you in the exams, Naruto Lions. He said, leaving with his 2 siblings in tow. Noted. He said to himself, turning to Konohamaru and his friends Mogi and Yuden. Okay, what happened? Did you trip on your scarf and blame someone else again, Kono? He asked the boy, who looked at him strangely. Who are you? Konohamaru asked as Hoser and Gila walked up, getting out of their daze from Naruto's intense confrontation. Kono, how many blonde guys with whiskers do you know? He asked, getting a confused look from all 3 of the kids. How many guys have hit you over the head not caring who your grandpa was? He asked. Nai-san? He asked, getting Naruto to roll his eyes. Yes, Kono. He said in a plain tone. Wait, if you Naruto, then why did you say your last name was Lions and not Uzumaki? He asked in curiosity. Oh, that, I found my long-lost relative and she adopted me. He said, getting a shocked look. I'm a Lions now. Wait, so who are these guys? He asked, pointing to Hoser and Gila. These are my other friends who just showed up to the village. This is Hoser and Gila. Naruto answered. Hey, brats. Hoser said. Nice to meet you, Kono. Gila said politely. Boss, is she your girlfriend? Konohamaru whispered. No, Gila here rejected me earlier. Naruto answered, getting a blush from his female companion and a laugh from Hoser. No, I did not. She defended herself. So, do I have a chance? He asked. No. I mean, Gila turned to see Naruto hold his knees as he buried his face in them. Don't worry, I'm sure Jericho or Merlin will at least give you a chance. Hoser tried to comfort Naruto, already knowing this was just some joke his fellow blonde was pulling. "Anyways, I'm just helping show these guys around since they just joined the Shinobi Corps," Naruto said, getting out of his fake depressive state. The group talked for a bit before the Konohamaru Corps left, leaving Naruto to finish his tour before Kakashi appeared in front of them. "Hey Naruto," he said, eyeing the blonde's new appearance. "Can I help you, Kakashi-sensei?" he asked as the Jonin gave him the sheet and explained the Chunin exams, but quickly found the sheet back in his hand, signed. "Already aware, I'll see you in the academy tomorrow," Naruto said before the Jonin vanished. "I'm actually pretty excited for the exams," Hoser said in excitement. "Indeed, it may be a good learning experience," Gila added. Naruto helped the two make it back to the hotel, ending the tour as they had to prepare for the exams in the morning. The next day, Naruto quickly put on his vest and tie as ran off early to start the exams. Making it first, he had to stop at the entrance to wait on his least favorite people in the world. "I bet you forgot those two, eh?" Leaving him there waiting for a half hour as exam takers were already on their way into the building. After a long wait, Sasuke showed up looking like he hated the universe for some reason, while Sakura had hearts in her eyes as usual. The two soon stopped as they noticed him. Surprisingly, Sasuke recognized Naruto first as he activated his Sharingan to search for a genjutsu. "You going to keep staring at me, or are we going to take the test?" he asked, making the Uchiha break out of his concentration. "Oh. Where the hell were you the entire week?" asked Sasuke as Sakura nodded in agreement as usual. "Visiting family," Naruto answered as he started walking and prompting his teammates to follow him. "You're an orphan, you don't have a family and never will," screeched Sakura. "So is Sasuke, but you don't hear anyone complaining about him being an orphan," Naruto said as she blushed, realizing what she just said. Surprisingly, that grew a tick mark on Sasuke's head. The trio moved on until they saw a crowd building up near a doorway to a room with the wrong number, considering they are on the wrong floor. "Sasuke, don't say anything. If they can't see something simple, then they aren't worth your time," Naruto said, getting Sasuke's attention. "For Pete's sake, there's a Hyuga right there, literally one doujutsu ability, and he doesn't even know how to use it. If Itachi wanted weak prey, he would have went after them, don't you think?" Naruto asked, egging Sasuke on as he agreed. The three left without a word, but didn't notice the Hyuga and his team, who heard the blonde speaking. The bun-haired one slapped her forehead at a simple mistake. The bowl cut also realized his mistake and promised to do a large number of unorthodox things should it happen again, and the Hyuga fumed for being disrespected and for not noticing something foolish and simple. Regardless, the new trio followed Team 7 on their way to real testing site. Skipping Lee's confrontation, wait, how did he show up on the other side of them? Wasn't Team Guy behind them a while before the fight? Afterwards, Team 7 finally made it the exam area where Kakashi was waiting for them and disappeared after giving them whole concept of showing up on time, which they glared at their sensei since he was a hypocrite. "Sasuke-kun." The blonde turned and heard a loud screech as Ino hugged Sasuke, earning a burning glare from Sakura. "I guess your sensei signed you up too, this is so troublesome," spoke up a lazy voice who was revealed to be none other than Shikamaru Nara and his friend Chaoji beside him, stuffing chips into his mouth. Then he looked around. "Hey, where's Naruto?" he asked as teammate also appeared. "Well, it looks like the rookie, 8 is here," Kiba asked, making his presence known, but unlike Team 7, they weren't able to recognize him. "Idiots, he's right here." Sasuke pointed at the blonde who looked disinterested and was speaking to some silver-haired genin. "So in a nutshell, you have cards that give me just about anyone participating in these exams?" Naruto asked the silver-haired man. "That's it, anyone on your mind?" the silver-haired man asked. "Do you have yourself?" he asked, making the silver-haired man eyes widen. "What?" he asked. "Do you have yourself in there, or is Kabuto not your real name?" Naruto asked, making the man identified as Kabuto sweat. No, it's ironic, I really don't have myself." Kabuto lied, with this not going unnoticed by the blonde. "So, you again, and with several years of experience taking the exams, staying at the lowest rank, we have managed to get sensitive material, such as information on our competitors like that Sand Ninja and Bowl Cut Kid, but not yourself?" Naruto asked, making Kabuto feel more nervous. "Yup, I thought no one would bother knowing the messenger, thinking there were several other guys who are much stronger than myself." He lied again. "Oh well, I guess you just wanted less attention. Too bad, you already got a lot spreading the fact you have other people's information," Naruto explained, making Kabuto sweat drop, realizing this was a waste of time, and he literally just put himself on the spot, revealing he had everyone's personal information. "Hey Kabuto, you mind doing me a favor?" "What is it?" Kabuto asked, feeling alarmed again. "Move," Naruto shouted as he grabbed Kabuto by the shirt and moved him aside as a genin covered in bandages punched the floor, only for him to receive a heavy kick to the face. "Wow, thanks," Kabuto said in appreciation as the bandage-wearing genin was helped by his teammates, leaving the rest of the rookie 9 in awe, and Naruto's speed and strength. Those thoughts were interrupted by a loud voice. "Okay, break it up, sound genin, you two blondie. Now everyone gets inside and take a number, you'll be sitting wherever your number is assigned," shouted the man. "Okay, sorry but I have skipped this part, we all know what happens." Naruto panics, very few figure out the meaning of the test, and people like Sakura, not counting the hidden chunin, wasted their academy career studying chakra theory, hoping it would make up for something. Sadly, this was not one of those moments. And they made fun of my book, smart Sakura thought. The hour finished with Ibiki Marino explaining the concept of the test, crushing the pink-haired girls parade. After that, a woman in a rather revealing outfit with a pineapple-shaped hairstyle busted through the window. Again, the next part was in Training Ground 44, the Forest of Death. At the forest, Naruto caught up with Veronica's team, finding himself in her embrace. He found himself catching up with them before the men showed up. "I see everyone had issues with it like I did," Naruto stated, earning nods from everyone except Griamore. "I didn't see too much trouble with it, father made sure I studied a lot before I made it as a holy knight," he said while Gil and Hoser remembered how Dreyfus would always push the occasional book smarts instead of running around with a sword or lance in hand. "My father did the same, he would go ballistic when he found me playing swords with the men, and not because I made Griamore cry," Veronica said as the large man in question blushed, remembering how Veronica was the strong one when they were kids, while Margaret preferred to keep roughhousing to a minimal. Everyone chuckled at Griamore's expense before they saw Naruto catch a kunai in without looking away and snapping it in half before backhanding the empty space behind him, only for it to be filled by the pineapple hair-shaped proctor to fill that space. A fellow leaf shinobi attacking a comrade. "Let alone the one I once called my sister?" Naruto asked in a neutral tone, making the woman look at him shocked. "Whiskers," was all she thought before moving back to her position before announcing the next stage of the exams. "Naruto, did you have history with the proctor?" Gil asked, placing a shoulder on Naruto. "That lover of my aunt," he started, making him blush, "was Anko Mitarashi, someone I thought I could trust until I was abandoned again. Even now I have doubts about certain people, it's the reason for my occasional change in attitude," Naruto explained, leaving more questions than answers. Anko finished her explanation of the 2 scrolls and waivers that need to be signed, thus beginning the second stage of the Chunin exams. However, right before they started, Naruto utilized Ban's lessons in being a pickpocket and took the scroll from Sasuke, knowing the Uchiha had no chance of hanging onto it until the end. Regardless, he gave his goodbyes and went off into the forest with his team, not noticing the strange stares behind them. A little while later, Naruto went off on his own to relieve himself, while Sakura and Sasuke were talking about some kind of strategy until they heard several loud snaps and a squelch. Before they could react, a body was tossed towards them. The disturbing part was that the head turned 360 degrees once it stopped. The two took to the trees, disregarding the safety of their teammate, only to run into a female grass ninja. The female toyed with Sasuke, making him use up all his chakra before going up to his neck and biting him, making Sasuke scream in pain as a strange tattoo-like symbol appeared on his shoulder. "When the time comes, you will seek me out for power," said the grass ninja, only to be hit by another corpse. The woman looked up to see Naruto climbing up towards her. "I wondered when you would show up." Your friend Kabuto not only turned into a red flag, saying he had everyone's personal information, but he reeked of snakes as well. "There are only 2 traitor snakes, one who hurt me and one who wants to hurt Konoha," Naruto explained. "Can you really call it revenge, Orochimaru, or this your way of bitching?" he said, mocking the grass nin, who fumed as she ripped of her face, revealing a pale man with long hair. "I see I've been discovered, regardless I will make quick work of you," Orichimaru said, pulling out his sword from his neck. "I heard you've been seeking out immortality, yet you can't do anything about the fact you're slowly becoming senile," Naruto stated, pissing the snake Sannin off as he pulled out his short sword and lost vein. "I will make you eat those words. I am a Sannin boy and you should know your place when fighting your superiors," Orichimaru said, trying to release a heavy amount of Kai, only for Naruto to smile and activated his own curse mark, shocking the Sannin. "You sound like Tsunade and she's just a useless band-aid. What does that make you?" he asked, taking a stance. Orochimaru fumed at the boy's arrogance, while the rest of Team 7 prepared to watch Naruto take on Orochimaru, but was shocked as Naruto revealed the darkness around his body to the point where he started growing demonic-looking wings. "No holding back, and you better not be pathetic like your teammates," Naruto said. "I will show you the power of a true shinobi. One more worthy than that rookie blonde who took what was rightfully mine," shouted Orochimaru as he dashed at Naruto, who prepared for the assault. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the story. If you did, please like the video. Also consider subscribing and sharing this with your friends. This will really mean a lot for me. I'll see you in the next one.